Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Kast. I would just like to give you ample warning ahead of time. This episode is going to feature spoilers. This is because I had both FightinCowboy as well as Gene Park, and I wanted to be able to talk about everything in the game without us having to dance around potential spoilers. So I figured it just made more sense at this point to have it feature spoilers. I understand that a lot of you guys are probably not done with the DLC yet, so I would really request that you guys check this episode out later if you still don't want to listen to spoilers or anything like that. But, you know, this is your one warning. Thank you very much for clicking on the video, and hopefully I will see you guys later. For all those of you who already finished the DLC or don't care about spoilers, I hope you guys enjoy the show. If you do, please do remember to hit the like button because it really helps out. And yeah, thank you for watching and enjoy the show. Shields up, Iron Breakers, and welcome back to another episode of the Cast. Today I'm here with FightinCowboy and Gene Park, who is the mystery guest that I've been teasing throughout the live streams. Hopefully you've all been enjoying the amazingness that is Shadow of the Erdtree. How's everybody doing in here?
I'm good.
Good. Very energetic. Like, I'm good.
It's been, I mean, have any of us like really gotten like a good sleep in the last week?
Gene?
I actually haven't. Yeah, I've actually been playing a lot of Erdtree and I don't know, staying on Blade and watching a lot of streams. I've been consuming so much Erdtree content. So many people streaming. So I would have my own game because I'm trying to actually finish the game a second time, and I actually did that last night, which is fun, and we can talk about that. And then I'll have Cenat stream because I'm just like watching, you know, his progress and seeing how he's doing. But he's muted because I don't really need to hear his commentary like all the time. And then I'll have Quaylog streaming on my
And she's doing
left
lore
side,
breakdowns, right?
and she's doing like live lore breakdowns and everything. So I have her going on blast. So like I feel like the Dark Knight in Batman at the end of the Dark Knight specifically when he's got Morgan Freeman having all those screens for him. That's how I feel like. I need to watch the whole city of Erdtree, you know.
So everybody in my community pretty much already knows who Cowboy is, but Gene, I would be remiss if I wouldn't ask you to introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Gene Park. I'm a reporter for the Washington Post. That's on my shirt here. And I've been working there for the last 9 years. For the first 6 years, I was a social media guy. I was like the audience editor for the Washington Post. So I was basically the brand account on Twitter and Reddit and on Twitch even. And then I became a video game reporter. We started a section in late 2019, and I was advising on that one. And because of my advice, they just ended up hiring me as a writer, and I've just been doing that ever since. They shut that down, and I'm the only video game reporter left. So that's me. Yeah, I cover a lot of culture, video game reporting. And huge fan. This is to be on the Concast is a huge deal for me because you know I may be a mainstream media journalist, but you know, first of all, this is the first time I'm actually talking to either of you, Rurikhan and Fighting
Really?
Cowboy, live in person. Yeah, because we've exchanged like messages and DMs.
Yeah, we've talked on
and
Twitter for
tweets.
what, like 2-3 years now.
For
never
years
actually
now.
talked.
But to be on the cast live with you guys is great because the fact that I even like messaged you guys in the first place like years ago is great to me because I've just been a, you know, Rurikhan. Like if it wasn't for you and your Monster Hunter guides, I would not be a Monster Hunter player. You know, I would not have learned how to hate the long sword or
Not
learn
the
how.
long sword! I can't believe you would do me like this, Gene.
Yeah, I mean, I use your guys for the longsword, you know. Sorry, but you're good at training for it, you know.
No, but it was
Like you know, all your training guides, you know, like even Monster Hunter Rise, and I was watching during World 2, but even during Rise when you're doing like the training buddy, the training dummy test and everything that was also helpful. And FightinCowboy, of course, you know, like you know, Cenat recently gave a shout out to Rad Brad as like his favorite like you know walkthrough YouTuber. And
oh,
FightinCowboy was kind of it for me because like, you know it's all the RPGs, all the big RPGs that he'd be playing, you know.
it was actually
He'd use
funny
his guides.
because on that thread of Cenat, I went through the replies, and I think like 70% of the replies was like, "Where's FightinCowboy?" It's like everybody just like tagging Fighting Cowboy, like, hey, where's Fighting Cowboy's shout out?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's either the Rad Brad or Fighting Cowboy, I guess, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
of course I watch Rad Brad stuff a lot too, but he's just, generally a more generalist, which is no surprise why Kai was a big fan. But Cowboy covers a lot of the games I like, and so do you. So this
Yeah.
is great. This is a great opportunity to be here. So I'm
Well,
very grateful.
it's nice to finally meet you as well, Gene, because like I became aware of you actually at one point because somebody had pointed out that you had put one of my videos in your article, and I was like, oh, you actually like put credits, because there's a bunch of media sometimes that will just like they'll embed a video and they won't even say who it's from. It's like, here's a video. It's like, boom, done. Like that's it. But you were like going to the trouble of actually crediting everyone that you were talking about and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then shortly after that, you had I was really sad because like shortly after that, you had your bout with cancer, which I was like, damn, friggin' that's kind of rough. Is everything good now?
Yeah. I actually just saw my doctors yesterday. Not a big deal. They were just literally because last week I did my quarterly scans. Just scan everything, chest down and everything to make sure everything's clear, and it was clear. So I just saw my doctors to tell me to just reaffirm that everything's fine. And it's been almost 2 years since my diagnosis. So maybe in a couple months towards the end of the year, we're gonna start slowing down my checkups, so we don't have to do
Yeah.
it every three months. Just keep it down to like maybe half a year, and then after that it'll just be a year, and hopefully 5 years afterwards, that I'll be medically considered cured. So
Stays in remission forever.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So if I get
I'm
cancer
rooting
again
for
after
you.
that, then it's just some new problem. So
Yeah. But
yeah.
so just to get a little bit more background on you, what was the first Souls game you ever played?
It was Demon Souls. It
Oh
was,
hells yeah, no G.
Yeah, I was in on the ground floor, PS3. I heard about this game in Japan, called Demon Souls, and of course, I heard that it was like Oblivion, right? So of course that got me interested because I was a huge Oblivion fan, and then I picked it up, and I didn't really understand it, of course, at first, but I was really really intrigued, and then I just loved it. I still think Demon Souls is so good. I still think it's such a tightly constructed game. It's I feel like it's the only Souls game that made by FromSoft where they really discourage you from just running past the enemies, because like you do that a lot in Elden Ring,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
especially in Elden Ring, because you're just looking up the Scadutree fragments, and that's a good way to explore. And that's a good way to level up. But that's what I was doing a lot during Scadutree. Is I was really just kind of running around a turret and just like manically looking for these Scadutree fragments to upgrade. But in Demon Souls, you are tightly funneled into this gauntlet of enemies. You gotta beat all these rolling skeleton warriors before you get to the King Storms. So it's cool. So I was on the ground floor for Demon Souls ever since the very beginning, and I was like I was an evangelist for it. I was like, you guys, everyone needs to check out this game. I was really really like early on board. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So I had my like before I got into like content creation, really, I had like my crew. And I feel like a lot of us growing up, did you have like a crew of like 4 or 5
Yeah.
friends that you'd always play with? Yeah. So it was like
Totally,
my
yeah.
Xbox Live crew. A couple of the guys also did PlayStation. I remember we'd be like playing Phantom Dust or Halo or whatever, and they would bring up Demon Souls, and they'd be like, "Oh, you have no idea how hard this game is. No way you could. You have no idea, bro. It's just it's so intense." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't have a PS3, so I didn't get in until Dark Souls 1, which played through that. But I always think back to that memory of Ricky telling me like, "You have no idea how hard this game is," and then I look at like what I do now, and I'm like. Yeah, where you at, Ricky? You little fucker. What do you got to say now? What do you got to say now, Ricky?
You got a pretty good idea now.
Baby game for babies is what that game is. No, but like, so what are your overall thoughts on Shadow of the Erdtree? Let's start with Cowboy. Like overall thoughts, like just very baseline.
I mean,
we're gonna go
overall, I think it's one of the best DLCs they've done. There is the verticality of the world is top notch. Like you're constantly, it has that feeling of like, oh my God, there's more, but it's like, there's more up and down, which is really nice. I know Are we spoiler safe here?
Oh
or
yeah,
what?
I forgot to mention for anyone tuning into the podcast, I'm just gonna warn you, we are gonna go full spoilerama. It's been like 6 days since it's been out, and I understand not everybody's gonna be up to snuff, but you know, we have Cowboy here, we have Gene. I want to be able to talk about everything, so it's spoilers let loose galore. Okay, this is your one warning, so leave now, come back later if you care about spoilers.
Thank you. All three of us have been had beaten the game like several weeks
Yeah.
ago too. So for
Yeah.
us, like
Well,
this
not me.
Cast is like
I beat it like this week because I've been like furiously editing my Let's Play episodes.
oh, that's right. That's
Been
right.
catching
yeah.
up. But the bosses, I had a blast with the bosses. I know Prime Radon has been fairly controversial. I think it's awesome. The idea of seeing what Radon was
Would
in
be
his
at his
prime
prime.
and having that one-on-one fight. I had a blast with that. The new ashes are a lot of the new ashes are crazy. I like the new weapons. Some of the new spells are underwhelming, but there's a couple that are really good. Like honestly, off the top of my head, the only part of the DLC that I genuinely didn't enjoy would be the furnace golems, because I just think they're the most tedious thing FromSoft has ever created.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
So what about your overall thoughts, Gene?
Yeah. I am still waffling between whether this is the best DLC FromSoft has ever made. I'm kind of leaning towards yes, because of just the overall quality of the overall gameplay and the world design. I really, really think Shadow the Erdtree's world design is such a huge step up from even just Elden Ring, and I think all of their other games in general. I think this is the closest thing they've ever made to Dark Souls 2. In terms of like, you know, just expanding Dark Souls 1 as a tight area and make it feel more connected as a world. I think the realm of Shadow is that, where it feels like you know how in Elden Ring the navigation felt pretty much like an open world, where you start in Limgrave and then you go down the sea here and you go up the sea here, and you're really just mostly going down a crescent area, right? And then of course the level design, the world design goes up and down, right? And that was so much fun. But with Erdtree, it kind of just crisscrosses all over the place.
Yeah.
Like it's I just realized that you can really just circumvent so much of the standard progression of Erdtree if you just really just make your way around. The divine dancing lion beast. I think you can just not kill that thing at all.
Yeah, you can
think
skip straight to, I think the only required bosses, as far as I know, would be Mesmer, Saint of Bud, Ally Fight, and then Radon.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think those are the only 4 required bosses.
Do you need to do Mesmer?
Yeah, because
you need the
Ember
kindling. Yeah, right. You need
the kindling. Yeah. So Mesmer is the only Mesmer, Romina, who's guarding the tree. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You know. Yeah, and the big Civil War fight at the end, which is so great. The greatest invasion fight Souls has ever had.
I was actually curious. Is that mandatory, or can you skip it?
I'm pretty sure it's mandatory, because I think no matter what, once Lita realizes, I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Because you summon the sign. I'd imagine there's probably a fog. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've only done it once, but I'm curious if you have to do the invasion or if you can just go like, nah, I'm just gonna leave.
I did it. You know, I thought about leaving, but I was like, no, but I actually want to see the fight. I should have just tested the door and
yeah, I'll try it during my prep to find out. Because I imagine the door is probably fogged. Like, hey, there's something you got to do. Turn around.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It didn't look fogged
like
though, but then the fog doesn't really appear until you get close, right? So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it might be fogged. It might not. Like I didn't try it. I was just like in there trying it for a little while because I tried doing it without summons, and we'll talk about the whole summon situation and whatnot because that's also going to be a fun discussion that haven't had at all before. But my overall thoughts is like I do feel like this is definitely one of the best DLCs they've ever done. I definitely feel like I like this more than I like Elden Ring. I still feel like subsequent playthroughs are a little bit annoying, which is my biggest complaint about Elden Ring is like first playthrough, phenomenal. Love every aspect of it, getting lost in the world, fantastic. But then the follow-ups, it gets harder because I'm the type of player that's like, I know that there's a thing here in this cave that I don't need, but I actually kind of do. I gotta have it. It's like I'm like a kleptomaniac. I need to go steal that because I want to have it in my inventory so that I know that I've done that bit. Because like whenever I would do Dark Souls 1, it'd be the same thing. I would go and pick up
Mhm.
every single item, even though I don't need it. But in Dark Souls 1, it's easier to do. And in Elden Ring, it just takes an exorbitant amount of time. Like, I think my last run that I did to prepare for the DLC took me like 90 hours to do as many of the things that I wanted. And this is without going to Farum Azula, because I didn't burn the tree. Because we were all like theorizing, oh, what if you didn't burn the tree and then you go into the DLC and things are going to be different? What if we don't kill Melania and there'll be more dialogue? But I don't think it affects anything
I did all
from
that
what
too.
I've seen.
Yeah, I did all that too. Nothing comes out of it. But yeah, I did all. I had like 4 different saves set up where like Melania's not dead and Erdtree's still alive, and like so I'm just like, holding myself back by not having as much like somber ancient smithing stones. Basically.
I'm surprised they didn't have Ofnir say anything. I think that would
Yeah.
have been like out of everything they could have added. I think Ofnir having a shout out to finding Mikola in the room would have been a good one.
Exactly,
But
because
as far as I know,
you go back
there's
and he says,
nothing.
"Oh, you still have to find Mikola." I'm like, I done.
You're
already.
like holding the rune. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, it's right here. It's right
I'm
here. Do
literally
you
like,
see this?
I'm literally wearing his hat. Like
Yes.
it still has his DNA on it.
No, but yeah, that was like my thing with Elden Ring, and I feel like Shadow of the Erdtree is definitely more replayable than the original Elden Ring because
Yep.
it is more compact. It's like
Yeah.
I've even when I started my second run, because the first run that I did, right, I had to kill Rolana to get Shadow Altus. But then on this one, I was like, no, wait, I can go from the back in that other fort because there's jump stuff there, and I can jump up all that fort and then skip, and I'm in Shadow Altus. So on my second run that I started doing yesterday, I haven't beaten any of the bosses. I've just been like roaming the world, collecting all of the things, and that makes the game actually, in my opinion, easier than the base Elden Ring because you can collect so much before you go anywhere. But, we'll talk about the difficulty thing as well. But before that, I wanted to bring up the length of the DLC because this has been an interesting thing. So Cowboy told me that like in his first run was like 35 hours. And then Gene, you were telling me, I'm at the final boss. It's 24 hours. And I was even putting that in my review. So Gene finished the game in 24 hours. And then you were like, oh, but since then I've put 60 more hours into the game. And I was like, wait, I thought you were done. I was like, let me correct that.
I couldn't beat the last boss. I hit the last boss, and it's been fun watching a lot of streams because a lot of streams are accidentally either hitting the last boss or hitting Mesmer. They're like, oh, I didn't mean to walk into Mesmer. They just like walk into Mesmer and they don't expect
It does. Mesmer sneaks up on you though. You like go up a staircase and you're like, what's in this closet? Oh God, it's the boss. Like it doesn't have the usual.
Oh,
like
the guy on
Radon,
the
it's
cover.
like giant staircase to the Cathedral of Light, and you're like, yeah, that's the final boss in there. But Mesmer, it's like opening the wrong door when you're trying to go to the bathroom at a guest house. Like it's not very obvious.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the vibe that I got when I first got to Mesmer as well. Is like I'm coming up there and I'm being very careful because I'm exploring literally everything in the Shadow Keep. That was actually one of my favorite dungeons. We'll talk about those as well. But like I was exploring every single nook and cranny, and I was like, okay, I'm going here, but I know there's stuff that I haven't done because I didn't find the church district until later. And I was trying to find my way to get to these other places that I hadn't been to. And I was like, I'm just going to see what's behind this door. It doesn't seem too important.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Hi there.
How you doing, Mesmer? 18 inches of him waiting for me right here.
I watch a lot of streams because I watch a lot of like veteran streamers, right? So they're scraping the map. They're making sure that they do everything before Mesmer. So if you're trying to scrape the map, you're trying to avoid Shadowkeep, right? But that's the fun thing about the map is that they're trying to go around Shadowkeep, and then so they go around to the bottom, and they're trying to go around to Manus Meter, and then they're like, oh, what's this other road? Oh, I'm in Shadowkeep now. I've been trying to avoid Shadowkeep this whole time, but here I am in Shadowkeep because the game is built like that. The map is built like that. And then so they're like, okay, well, maybe this is a side area of Shadowkeep. And then they go through that, and then they hit Mesmer. And like, yeah, you went through Shadowkeep completely the wrong way. You basically went through it backwards, which is crazy. But you can do that. Game allows for that. And yeah, that's how they got shocked.
I think that's brilliant map design on their end. But like, so my first playthrough, I think it was about 50 hours. I wasn't really keeping too much tabs on exactly how much time it was. It amounted to 16 episodes once I've done all of the optional stuff, about 2 hours per episode, but a lot of it was not recorded exploration and deaths on boss fights, because I would be actually like, okay, I'm just going to stay for 5 hours running through the map trying to find my way to the hinterlands, which I never did. I had to ask Cowboy how to get to the hinterlands because I never found that stuff. But once I was done, it was like 50 hours. And I was like, I feel like this is definitely worth it. The amount of content that you're getting, and not even just the amount of it, but the sheer quality of the content that we're getting with this DLC. For $40, an expansion of this size, this is fundamentally Elden Ring 2. And in a lot of ways, it has less content than Elden Ring. But what we have here, I just think it's way more quality than what's on the base game. Anybody want to comment?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Again, I just finished my second run last night. And I'm also playing through the base game too, because I'm trying to save do another run. I actually did a pretty good run. The first run I did, I wrecked all the NPC quest lines. Because again, I actually made it to Primer Dawn in 15 hours. I was like, oh.
I thought it was 24. Damn, 15?
Well,
it was
what was your Skidoo at when you got there? Like 10?
It was like 9. Yeah, it was Skidoo 9. So I was like,
so listen, it's pronounced Shadoo. It's old. It's ye old English. It's Shadoo.
The old English.
Skivity fragments now. No, it's too late.
But it's been weeks of Skidoo and Skibidi. So yeah. So right now I'm trying to train my brain to do both.
The Ghidorah meme, you know, like the Ghidorah meme where there's like the 2 Ghidorah heads and the one that looks derpy. That's talking about that. It's like Erdtree, Tree, Skibidi Tree. It's like the derpy face. I don't know. It's stupid, but every time I see that pop up, I'm like, yeah, the Skibidi fragments.
Yeah, so I had like maybe 50% of the map like still uncovered, you know, including the hinterlands, including the abyss, including the volcano. So all 3 of those areas were completely dark when I hit the last boss. And I was like, I am way too early, but let me just give this a shot. That was 10 seconds. Okay, that was 5 seconds. Okay, I can barely breathe in this fight. Like, so let me go back and explore the rest of the game. And that is where like the rest of the 40 hours basically. So I think completing the game took me about like 65 hours, including finding every Scadutree fragment. And that was what was driving me crazy. And Cowboy knows that I kept DMing him for the last fragment, and he has no idea because, you know, he has no idea which one I have, and I have no idea which one I'm missing. So, you know.
Yeah. It was actually, I'm just surprised that you're able to get there that fast, because how did you even fight your way through? I forget what the name of the last dungeon is, because the enemies that are in there, it's insane. They deal so much damage.
Oh, I ran.
He just ran.
Remember I was talking about how you're just running past the enemies? That's exactly what he did, because those enemies are like the Mega Omen like warriors, right?
Yeah.
Like
Horned warriors, dude. Those things are insane.
They're huge. They're massive. They're casting like they're changing the weather around them. You know, they're mini gods. It's crazy. So that's why I was like, oh, I'm not messing with you. You know, let me just run right past you and see what's past this divine gate real quick. Oh, that's the last boss. Okay. Let me go back and find some more of these.
I was doing testing. They're actually they're the best Ashen summons in the DLC.
Oh,
the 2 Horned Warriors. I brought out a bunch of the new Ashen summons against the Ancient Dragon to see what would, you know, just let them duke it out and let's see how long they would last. The Horned Warrior and then the Bird Warrior. They were the only ones that got close to.
What about the Mimic tier?
Oh, Mimic tore it all up.
Of
was
course.
able to solo like a third of the boss's health on his own.
still
Mimic is still the Giga Chad. They're just
the
like
thing that's so
the
funny
best
about
ones.
Mimic is you know, occasionally you get people that are like, I tried the Mimic and it's terrible, doesn't do any damage. And I'm like,
what were you wearing?
That's a self-report right there.
That is. That's a self-report. Yeah.
Mimic ain't working. I'm gonna look in the mirror, my guy.
The first thing you learn about Mimic is, they're wearing what I'm wearing. So like, you know, I would even like wear the armor and then I would shed it like once I
take it off,
so I can
turn
wear
my
my
Mimic into a tank, and then
yeah.
I did that for Melania the first time that I fought Melania, I was like, no,
Yep.
listen, my mimic is going to be just like me, except he's going to have a different hammer. His hammer has prayerful strike so that he heals
So he stays
himself.
alive, yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he was
exactly.
tanking like a boss. He would tank Melania. No, the problem was that Melania would heal off him, and that was an issue. But at least he didn't die. When I was like, oh, this is good. At least you're staying alive and you're helping me out. But my first Melania kill absolutely mimicked up. I don't care. It's like, dude.
Well, I was thinking about so we were talking. Someone was asking me why I like the mimic so much, and it made me think of Dragon's Dogma 2 and like making.
I was
your
gonna
own
say it's
pawn.
because you're a narcissist.
Yeah.
That too. But I think part of it, it's like, because it does remind me of Dragon's Dogma 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's just something to me that's incredibly satisfying about like creating a buddy that explores with you. Like, even when I played like WoW way back in the day, you know, playing a hunter and having a pet with you was just like, yeah, my little buddy's here. He's coming along. And I don't know, just something about that, man. I feel like companions, even digital companions, they just enhance the journey. I feel like
Oh,
they always do.
100%. Yeah.
And
I-
also, like, the fact that we're talking about armoring up the mimic, like it's one way for us to customize the summon part of
Yeah.
the whole game, right? So
Yeah. So I've been seeing some opinions online, which is never really the best of ideas, obviously. But one of the things that I saw this morning, and I'm going to make a video where I'm going to compile some of these things. But one of the things that I saw this morning involved some people are of the opinion that From Software is gatekeeping the DLC from its own player base. Because I don't know if you guys saw this, but a while back, people were reporting on the fact that, only 30-something% of people have actually killed Moog in the base game, which means that 60-something% of the player base actually can't go into the DLC. And so people are saying, why would you do this? This is a terrible idea. This is absolutely atrocious. Well, you're gatekeeping your own player base. And I thought that was interesting. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, if you haven't even beat Moog and Radon, are you really the type of player that's going to pay money for more content?
Yeah. That's pretty much
you haven't done the
Go ahead.
yeah you haven't done the optional stuff. So to be fair, Moog and Radon are completely optional, but to not even fight Radon, who is like one of the main, who could be arguably the main character of Elden Ring,
Is
is
Radon
wild.
optional? Can you finish the game without killing Radon?
You only got to kill two. You got to get two thingies to go
Oh
to
yeah,
Limgrave,
2
so
runes, and
completely
then you
skip
can
Radon.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Damn.
I just did I just did a run a couple days ago where I completely skipped Morgoth, and I killed I killed him at the Elden Throne, and I go back to Stormvale Castle completely unexplored, and then Morgoth's not there anymore. Or Margit the Fellowman's just not there. It's just a great side of grace.
Oh, too
So
bad.
if you kill the source in Lane Dell, then all
But
of
I've
the other
heard-
illusions just disappear.
No, see, but I've heard of people that killed Morgoth in Lindell, but then they still meet him on that battlefield on the outside of Lindell.
Oh, I haven't
Because I
tried
know
that.
the boss, the Margit version of him should disappear, since it's like shadow of himself.
Yeah,
Margit
I
definitely
wonder if
disappears.
I wonder if the
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably just something that was overlooked.
yeah, it was
Ones
probably.
that-
It was
But yeah.
probably
Like,
overlooked, but yeah.
Also, my thought on that criticism is, that picture of James Franco about to be hung first time.
Exactly. To me, the
In case
thing.
you
Go ahead.
in case you don't remember, Artorias gatekeep people. It was incredibly hard to find. It was behind that waterfall, like behind the lake, or whatever. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But with a new NPC that they do not announce exists.
No, wait. That NPC wasn't new. She exists in the base game.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. But she definitely didn't take you anywhere. you
Oh
know?
no, she didn't. She would just tell you about the land of old or whatever, but she would be there for you to buy stuff or yeah.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. And then she's very well hidden. And then there's an incredibly hard boss. Like as soon as you walk into the DLC,
Yeah,
you can't
immediately
get
you get
past it.
smacked in the face.
Yeah, you get smacked in the face by that beast or whatever, that lion beast. And if you can't beat that boss, then you're not playing the rest of the content. That's it. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that to me, when you're saying stuff like, "Oh, they're gatekeeping the DLC," it's like, can they not do that if they want to? It's like, listen, we're making a game, and it's gonna be hard, and we want it to be for only the people who have fought these challenges that we've made. I think that's a perfectly fine decision. It's like if you didn't like the challenges in the base game, you probably shouldn't be paying more money to jump into the DLC because they said, listen, this is going to be hard. And you know, you have to kill these bosses before you go in because it's going to be hard. So,
well, and the obvious lore implications too. Like there are tangible reasons that both Radahn and Mohg need to be dead. So.
Yeah, 100%. Like initially, I didn't even, you know, I understood Mohg because you needed to beat Mohg to see the arm of Miquella so that you could then go in. I was like, this makes sense. But then Radahn, I was like, why would you have to kill Radahn? And now when you look at the current lore that people are speculating about how stuff's supposed to work, it's like we have to kill Radahn to send his soul to the Shadow Realm so that Miquella can then resurrect him. I think supposedly using Mohg's body.
No, that's confirmed by Ansbach when you're doing Ansbach's quest.
That is confirmed by Ansbach. Yeah, like, Cowboy and I were like, "Is that what they're doing?" But we missed that Ansbach.
Well, and this is one of the updates they made between what we played in press and the current version. Now, when you get to Radahn, he has blood flame attacks in his phase 1 now.
Yes, he does. He does.
Oh.
Yeah, he did not have that in the phase 1 attacks.
I have seen that. I have seen that. Yeah. When I got there, I was already on the retail version when I got there. But
he didn't have blood flame initially.
So
it makes more sense, you know, tying in the Mohg angle.
Besides the gate,
you bring up a great point though. Like, can they not gatekeep if they want to? And, you know, and maybe this is already dipping our toe into the difficulty discourse. But Miyazaki said, I'm not trying to make a game for. If I wanted to try to make a game where the whole world is going to play, you know, fine. But that's not what I'm doing. And for me, like, I think people are getting the whole slogan "games are for everyone" a little bit twisted. You know.
Oh yeah.
Games are for everybody. Yes, the medium of video games are for everybody. Individual video games are not for everybody. That is simply impossible to do. To make video games that are for every single person. So FromSoft is deciding, you know what, we're just not even going to try to do that. You know, we're just going to try to make the game we want.
I think that is super reasonable. But yeah, I was going to bring up the difficulty drama that we've been having with so many people saying the game is quite simply too hard. It is way too hard. This is unacceptable. There is, you know, no way. Cowboy, what do you think about the difficulty? Is it too hard?
I think the problem is just, you know, they're just not as good as us press folks. We're just built different. So me and Gene were able to get through the game before launch. You know, I think it's a skill issue, to be honest.
Gee, thanks. That's definitely not going to upset anybody that's going to jump in here. Skill issue. That's what Cowboy says. No, but the whole difficulty thing to me is like there's this notion in the Souls community, and this is not a notion that is spread by any of us, but there's this notion by a very small elitist minority that's like, unless you've beaten it with summons, you haven't really beaten it. Without summons, you haven't really beaten it. And the interesting thing that I find is that I don't think I've ever seen some of the most skilled players in the community ever gatekeep anyone's successes because, you know, oh, you used summons, it doesn't count. Never once I have seen any like major person in the community, they say, oh no, I play without summons because I want to challenge myself. Like that's it. That's the end of the discussion. You kill it with summons, you kill it using a guide, you watch Cowboy's walkthrough to make sure you have everything and you're good to go. These are all valid things, even though we do recommend going in blind the first time because that's really cool.
Totally.
Going in blind the first time is awesome. But if you can't do that, then sure, go watch a guide. It's better than quitting. But that notion of people not using summons, that is what's causing this. Because I would constantly ask people on social media whenever they'd be talking about, oh, the difficulty, this, difficulty. I was like, okay, it's too hard. Are you using summons? No, summons make it too easy. What?
I brought it up on stream, dude. It's and the thing is, like, to me, Ashen Summons are a tool like any other. It's like your Ashes of War.
Yeah.
It's, you know, same as finding that crazy OP weapon combination. And like I understand the approach of, you know, you want a self-imposed challenge, whether that's going to be only, you know, basic R1s, no weapon, no summons. That's fine. But when you're self-imposing a challenge and then simultaneously complaining about the difficulty, it's like going outside, stepping in dog shit, and then complaining that you have dog shit on your shoe. Like, you are choosing to inflict this upon yourself. You have avenues to remedy the situation, and you're refusing to use them. That's not a difficulty issue. It's just your own stubbornness, frankly.
It's like going outside right now where it's like 98 degrees, wearing like, our tank tops, and then a t-shirt, and then a layer, and then another layer, and then a button-up shirt, and then a jacket.
Yeah, and then like, it's too hot out.
Like 5 layers of pants, and we go outside. It's like, man, it's way too hot outside. What? It's 98 degrees, and I'm wearing all this stuff. It's so hot. You got all these limiters on you. That's why, man.
Yeah.
Take your clothes off, Take off the limiters,
It's
cool.
Just wear a tank top and embrace the warmth.
Like these guys.
And the funny thing to me is that, because I've had this argument with some people, because sometimes they'll show up on my stream, and then I'll ask them, okay, so summons is cheating. Fine. Now, what about using the mixed physic that gives you infinite mana and Comet Azuring a boss to death where he doesn't even move? Is that cheating?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's fine. I'm like, well, and it's like, what about popping up Rivers of Blood pre-nerf where you could just destroy things in seconds, or Moonveil Katana that would shred things in seconds from range? And everybody was like, no, those are fine. Summons are the problem. And I was like, well, what about if John Elden Ring over here, who's doing his first playthrough with a basic broadsword, hasn't even infused his weapon yet because he doesn't know how it works? Even if he uses a summon, it's harder for him than for you with your Rivers of Blood. Like, how's this reasonable? This logic that you guys are bringing up, it doesn't make sense. But
I think the thing people forget too is we always see the big argument people like to make is having the summon breaks the boss AI. It's not fair because it spreads the aggro.
yes,
And the thing is, at the end of the day, this is not Dark Souls. That's what people seem to forget. This isn't Dark Souls. This isn't Demon Souls. This isn't Bloodborne. This is Elden Ring. Summons have been in the game from day one. There's multiple systems to enhance your summons. There's tons of them in the world. The DLC has an entire system dedicated
There
to...
are only 2 upgrades in this DLC, and it is for your character and
your summons.
Fucking summons, man.
Yeah, like, clearly the game was designed with the summons in mind. And if people don't want to use them, that's fine. But telling other people, oh, you're bad if you use summons. No, you're bad for trying to play Dark Souls and Bloodborne, or Dark Souls and Elden Ring. That's like, the game was designed with summons in mind. If you don't want to use them, sure. If other people use them and you're upset about that, it's cringe. All it is. It's cringe.
So both of you used summons, right?
Fuck yeah. That makes my homie.
So I
totally.
didn't.
The only way I beat Radon is that I cast heal from afar on my Mimic tier. Because my Mimic tier got hit with the command grab by Radon, right? And then he got the little kissy kiss, right? So like that's great because you can easily predict exactly where the Mimic tier is gonna land. So I'm just like literally right in front of Radon, like watching him like hug up my Mimic tier, and as soon as he puts him down, I just blast him with heal from afar, like very very close, like right up his ass. And then my Mimic tier is right bar went right back up. Whoop. And I was like, okay, we're back in the game. And then Mimic still died a second time. And then I still had to pull it out for like last 5 hits for Radon. But yeah, that's how I did it.
Yeah. So
that's a win is a win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. I chose not to use summons. So I knew that I'm going in, I'm making this harder on myself on purpose. So rather than, bitching online, I would just bitch to Cowboy. I would just go on the
you would bitch and just Cowboy's boss fucking shit. Oh, you're not using your summon. I know I'm not using my summon. I was going off on you. I was like, I'm gonna be honest though, man. You're being kind of a bitch right now. You can't make it harder and then bitch to me nonstop about it. All right, do one or the other. Fuck this death bird. Have you used it? No, it's the katana's fault. You had a katana.
No, it was the thing to me is we always have that visceral reaction, right? When we're when we're in that moment and we're getting beaten down by a boss, you have that visceral reaction. So I would just choose, listen, I need to vent to somebody. Cowboy's getting it. So I just go up to Cowboy. Man, this Deathbird is some bullshit. He's got so many ads. Bro, this is terrible. So that's what I would do rather than, I'm going to put in my review how bad this is. Then I made like a passing comment in my review where I said like, I feel like there was this boss, had a bunch of ads around him, was really annoying to do repeat attempts. That was the thing. That it was him and Gaius were like my two biggest complaints. We'll talk more about Gaius in a second. But like, I played without summons, and so I was aware that like some things are going to be hard. And so I would just throw myself face first at it until eventually I would beat it and I would come up with strategies. And here's the thing, right? So at a certain point, I was like, oh man, I hadn't really been using great shields in the base game because a lot of the bosses, they'll just burst through your block. Mm-hmm. But in Shadow of the Erdtree, you can use great shields. So I'm like, bro, let me bring out the fingerprint great shield, upgrade it to max. And then I go up to Midra, which was giving me problems. I was like, oh, look at how easy this is. Just like kill him with the great shield. Is like, no problem. So I killed him. And then for Radahn, it was even worse. For Radahn, I straight up equipped the entire set of Moor, which is like the heaviest thing in the game. I couldn't even roll properly. I had his big shield. And it's like, I would get through the first phase in seconds. I just go up to him and be like, behind the shield, like not even doing proper attacks. It's like, first phase done. And then second phase, just like that until he would die too. It was great. And so the interesting thing is that now that's also considered cheese. And I was like, bro, I mean, come on. At first it's the summons. Now I can't use great shields. It's like, okay, so if I can't use summons and I can't use great shields, then you guys can't use spells. There, you can't use spells now. You can't use bleed. You can't use frost. No, none of that. I don't want to hear it. Like, listen, Kai Cenat, he beat the boss with like that the big arm of the blood fiends or whatever, probably with blood infusion. He beat the crap out of Radahn. And it's like, doesn't count. He used blood. Doesn't count.
No, longsword plus 25. That's the most you get.
That blood arm probably is going to get a nerf, I think.
It might.
That's going to get a nerf. Thorns are definitely going to get a nerf, and I think it's fair to. I don't know if I would. Well, I don't know if I'd call it an exploit, but the bug of rolling, the perfume rolling sparks interaction. It's clearly not intended, so that's going to get fixed. I pressed one button, 8,000 damage. Like
I saw somebody one shot a boss with that. You know what we're talking about, Gene? The perfume stuff?
No, actually I don't.
So the rolling spark Ash of War, when you lock on, it goes like boom, 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 boom. And it's a series of explosions. It does like I think 5 or 6. If you're unlocked, you can aim it at the ground, and when you throw it, it instantly does all of the explosions at a singular spot. So you're able to throw it out and do like an instant unoptimized, you do like 6,000 damage. And with like the right perks, you're doing upwards into like the 10, 15, 20,000 range. So you can do, like crazy. You can walk up, hit it like 3 times and stagger the furnace golems. So I'm using it on them because fuck those things. But like there's people that are just walking up to bosses and they're like, "Boosh, you're dead."
That's wild. Okay, I gotta see that. I actually haven't only been watching live streams. I haven't watched a lot of the advanced content. I only just started to do that now. Where like I saw Zeostorm just updated like something like things that you missed in the game. I didn't know that you can see actually Placidusex's heads on Bale's body.
I didn't know that either.
That's crazy. That's so dope. Obviously I knew that Bale was the guy who tore off his head, but I didn't know that the heads are still on the body. I didn't know that either. Like, where do you even learn about him in Placidus?
You talk to Florisex. She talks about how Bale basically challenged Plassey for like the title of Dragon Lord. Plassey ended up losing some heads. Bale lost his leg, and then that's why Bale fucked off to the Shadow Realm. And so all of the drakes, all that the dragon hearts we get from those drakes that we kill are descendants of Bale, who are essentially considered betrayers of like Plassey and the ancient dragon cult.
Interesting.
But
Which does bring up the interesting question. Yeah, why the fuck was there an ancient dragon right before we get to Bale if they're different factions?
Yeah, so this name that you just mentioned, is that the name of the priestess? The dragon priestess? Okay.
Yeah, 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that dialogue or if I was just like so out of it.
No,
Because
it should be like her first option. Like when you first
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
to her, it says like about
okay.
Bale.
Then I
Should
might
have been one of the. Yeah, you might have just been spaced out at that time.
Yeah, I was
which I totally get.
I was probably spaced out because like I've had a lot of stuff happen to me ever since friggin' Shadow of the Erdtree came out. Like Cowboy knows a lot about it. I'm not gonna get into it now, but like yeah, a lot of real life stuff's been happening. Like even just yesterday, I had to stop my stream midway, drive my mother to the hospital. She had like a massive gash on her shin. I was like, what the hell? Like, how does this even happen? It's like,
I hope she's okay.
no,
Glad
she's she's fine. 7 stitches though. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insane.
Jeez.
Like, it's been just like stuff like that's been happening to me almost every day since the release of Shadow of the Erdtree. Like, I'm friggin' cursed. So that's probably why I ended up either I missed the dialogue or I completely spaced out during it. But yeah, that is interesting because I love the Bale quest. And I want to jump into that, but before that, your guys' thoughts on the Scadutree Blessings, which is another big criticism that I've heard from people, because a lot of people are saying like, well, I don't want to explore. And it's like,
Yeah, that's the lowest IQ dumb shit take I've heard about this.
I don't get it.
That legit makes me angry because I don't want to explore. So wait, you want to pay $40 for DLC and not explore the game? Like, and even then, it's not like there's a couple that are like, in the pot man, but like you start, there's one at the Grace. You go to the next Grace, there's one. You go to the next Grace, there's like 2. You go inside the castle, there's 1. Like, you're not like fucking climbing through caves and cliffs to find these. Most of them are just like, if you just follow a line on the main path, by the time you get to Radahn, you have like 15.
Easily have 15. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that I've heard people, there's this notion that like, oh, they're behind the bosses, so you got to kill the bosses before you can. And it's like, no,
you don't.
No, they're not.
I think there's at least 25 of them or something that you can get without killing a single boss.
Yeah.
It was kind of annoying that they weren't behind the bosses. I kind of wish that they
would've
were like
been
a boss
easier.
reward, but they weren't at all.
Yeah. If you know where you're going and you take back routes, you can get, I want to say, up to Shadow Blessing 10 before having to kill a single boss enemy.
There is one boss that basically gives you like a chunk of Scadutree fragments like right afterwards, but not directly as a reward. But like obviously at the chalice there's the 5 fragments that basically just boosts you up level 2 instantly once you beat Gaius.
Yeah. The interesting thing was I was super lucky when I started because I have this notion where I always like to explore the edges of the map. So the moment I jump into the DLC, I'm like, I'm going to go to the right side. So I go to the right side, instantly go into the cathedral, 2 Scadutree fragments right there. I was like, wait, what? This is so easy. Like, what's going on? And the best part, while everybody was getting murdered by that really annoying enemy that's just sitting there waiting for you to go forward, I skipped that enemy until God knows how much long later.
Oh yeah, the curse blades, those things are, they get you with that hammy leg lock around the neck.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chuck you off cliffs and whatnot.
Yeah, so
it was Wolverine, the beast claw.
Wolverine fucked up everybody, dude.
Wolverine fucked me up real bad.
Who's Wolverine?
Logan Beastclaw.
Just the naked guy with the beast claws, like in the forest, like very to the right of like the entrance of the gravesite plains.
Right before those
one
fragments
guy
she would have
who's-
gotten, there's a beast man in the forest there.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've
It's just-
ever seen him.
He's kind of, I don't want to say hidden, but like he blends in very well. It's just literally a naked dude with beast claws.
You gotta
wandering around the
just
woods.
scrape like real the edge of that forest, and he'll show up. But he's just waiting there.
Listen, I am not kidding. There was a moment where because I couldn't stream and I was busy doing something, I was talking with somebody about something important, I was just going back and forth from that grace to that church. I was farming the dudes there because I wanted to get the axe. I must have done that route 30 times. I've never seen
you have to
this
go.
brown.
You have to go into the trees. Like if you're taking that road down, how like if this is the road for you,
Yeah,
right around
I would
here,
usually
how
go
you
on
can
the
go
outside.
into the forest. Yeah, if you dip into the forest, he's like right in the middle.
But
of
on
that,
the
just
outside
cluster
or
of
on
trees.
the inside? Towards the cliff?
I think in the middle of the
towards-
forest. So if you were scraping like the
towards the
cliffs,
coast.
then I can see you missing him.
Yeah, I would
But if you
usually
go,
always do through the coast, yeah.
Yeah, just go in the middle of the forest.
Go in
Wow,
there
it's
and
crazy
kill
that
him.
you completely missed the guy. That's wild.
I mean, it's not just that. I also miss the backhand blades. For the longest time, I would see videos from people in the beginning era. I was like, where'd they find that? And then I go to Cowboy Stream. Hey, where'd you find those? Okay, I just need to know.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Erdtree is that there are so many like obvious things that were easy to miss. There was this one Lamenter's jail that I kept bugging Cowboy about. I was like, where is the key for this jail? Like I can't believe I can't find the key. He was like, no, the key is right there in the middle of the door. We're in the middle of the room. I was like, what room? And I didn't realize that there is literally an open door right next to the locked door, like the whole time. Like, I just kept walking right past this open door. So sometimes you just get really tunnel vision in this game where you just like really miss like the really obvious thing.
I got up to the showdown with Lita and Mikola's allies, and it was like I'm standing here. Lita's sign is right here. Ansbach's sign is right here. Theoliar's sign is right there. And I didn't see either of them because I just see the red sign and I'm like, button, jump in, fight Lita. I die. I come back out and it puts my character in the same position. And without like resting at the grace or anything, I just still like monkey brain, like touch red button and just hit the sign again and jump in.
Fight again.
Yeah, I failed their quest lines because I got up to like the final step and just didn't summon them because I didn't fucking take 3 seconds to look behind me.
Oh wow!
But how'd you guys feel about the Scadutree Blessings? Because like, sure, there were the complaints of people that said they didn't want it to explore and whatnot. But like, to me, I feel like this is one of the biggest highlights of this DLC because usually what ends up happening with a lot of Souls DLCs is that you're either going to go in underpowered and you're going to get completely destroyed, or you're going to go in brutally overpowered and you're going to just cruise right through. That usually tends to be how it goes unless you're doing a very specific playthrough where you're trying to avoid that. But in this case, like, Gene, I believe you went in at like level 700 or something ridiculous like that. You said
713, right? Max.
Yeah. So you went in at max level and you still were challenged throughout. And I was like, that's exactly what this system should do. It doesn't matter how powerful you are when you get to the DLC, you're going to experience that progression again. And to me, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
That's brilliant.
A lot of people didn't, apparently.
I think it scales dynamically, to be honest, because like the challenge that you had at 713, I was like 351 or 353 when I went in. And it's very much designed that when you first go in, you're going to get your ass beat. And then as you get your fragments, you're going to progressively become stronger to where you're more even. And then eventually you're superior to most stuff. And then the best part of it for me was just, the fact that it just flat out, like, your damage goes up. So, when you do that Ash of War and you see it hit for like 5,000, it's just, big number, make brain happy. You're just like, oh, look how strong that is. And then you go to Gatefront and you see like the real damage and you're like, oh, okay, it's not actually that strong. But still, while you're in the Shadow Realm, you see those big numbers and you're just like, yeah, I'm unstoppable. Look at this damage I'm doing.
I have one complaint about a Scadutree fragment, and Rurikhan, I know you might agree with this. I think it's bullshit that you have to kill the little pot guys for some of these fragments.
I think it's bullshit that some of those fuckers don't drop shards. I killed one and it's like
exactly.
There's one I forgot about in the walkthrough and I added a note for him, but there's one in Temple Town Ruins and you kill him and he drops a fucking silver horn tender.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? What is this? Everyone else has dropped like a cookbook, a revered ash, a Scadutree fragment. You give me a shitty consumable? Yeah. Unacceptable.
Yeah. I think that the only ones that drop it, they have like the glowing pot. Some of them.
Well, he was a glowy.
There are a couple of sparklies, or at least one that didn't drop something especially cool. Basically, a horn tender. I think
there's like four. There's four I know of that are sparkly that drop the fragments, and I know one. I love finding the fragments
at the churches, which kind of echo like the sacred tears. Finding the sacred tears at the churches echoes the base game, so that felt familiar. I liked finding the fragments at altars and like chalices and everything like that.
And that's what's so weird about
the crosses.
The like I have to explore angle. Like my dude, you did in the base game too. You had to go to churches to get your sacred tears and stuff to level your flasks. Like it's literally the same thing.
Exactly. I hate having to explore to upgrade. That's what you had to do in the base game. You mean to tell me that you only had 3 flasks by the end of the boss? You didn't pick up any of the golden seeds. You didn't do any exploration. No sacred tears. Your flask was +0 at the end of the game. So you didn't do any exploration. That's how you played the base game, right?
And it's interesting because I feel like that's exactly what it felt like to me as I was upgrading. I was like, oh. It's almost like on the same spot in the menu and everything. It's very similar to what you do with your potions. So it's kind of like the same thing. So it just feels natural to do. I actually think it was a very elegant system, but a lot of people apparently didn't like it. And I'm just like, I just don't understand why is this such a big deal? Especially because now we have a system wherein this feels challenging every time you go through it. Makes me wonder if what people want is they don't want to be challenged. They just want to like truck through. Let's go.
Yeah, they want a badge that says I beat the hard game.
Yeah. Which is like so very much not the point. I was like, okay. I also feel like there's a lot of people that because I had that mentality when I beat, I don't know if it was when I beat Demon Souls or if it was after I beat Dark Souls. You get that mentality in your head the very first couple of times you do that, where at least I got, where I was like, all these other games are for babies. I beat Dark Souls. I can play anything on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
And then you go on other games and you put it to max difficulty and you're just like, this game's unfair. This is some bullshit. I beat Dark Souls. I remember I had that mentality for a while, and then I realized actually Dark Souls is not that hard. I'm just a dumbass. So it's like, and then I understood like the certain games are going to be harder than Dark Souls. This whole Dark Souls is hard is just a big marketing thing, which is, a cool angle for them to work with. But fundamentally, it's just not that hard of a game if you use the tools given to you. That's just the way that it goes. And because Elden Ring was one of the Souls games that really penetrated mainstream, it definitely feels like more people started getting that vibe for the first time. It was like, I'm the Elden Lord. I should be able to get into this DLC and just shred through everything. And then that didn't work out. And so it was rough.
I'm being gatekept. I'm the Elden Lord. How dare you gatekeep me? I'm the Lord of Frenzy Flame,
But yeah, to me, another thing is also, I feel like Miyazaki looked at the way people were playing the base game of Elden Ring. And because he was seeing like this whole thing develop around the community where, oh, nobody's using this summon system that I made. Like for some reason, everybody thinks they're too good for my summon system. Okay, I'll just make things harder. How about now? and now people are like, well, they're just too hard. It's impossible, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, to me, it's like, look, from the moment that you are limiting yourself by not using things, you're doing a challenge mode run. That's what you're doing. And at that point, you either use all of the tools and then you can complain about it being hard, or you don't, and it is what it is. But yeah.
I've lost patience for it. I had someone the other day, they're like, really, Cowboy? Summoning Mimic Tier? And I'm like, fuck off. I'm going to summon Mimic Tier and double team your mom, bitch. Fuck out of my chat. Like, I'm just tired of this shit, man. Like,
it's so exhausting. Everyone keeps saying that. These are tourists in the community. These are people who are just watching Cenat and see Kai do it and not understand that Kai is doing a self-imposed challenge run. He's doing a self-imposed challenge run.
Did Kai want to do a challenge run, or did he get like bullied into it by his viewers?
I think he kind of he might have got bullied into it because this whole thing started because it was a competition between him and the Comedy Troop RDC World. Because Mark, the RDC World, if you guys don't know, RDC World is just the funniest guys on the internet. They do,
their Drake sketch when
the Drake
when
sketches,
Family Matters dropped. I'd seen them before, but that was the first time I was like, okay, I know who these guys are now. This is
my favorite one is
amazing.
How Popeye's in-house employees training is, and they're just training people to fight and yell at people. But these guys are really funny. But then Mark, he's never played a Souls game before, so his dumbass doesn't know how to engage any of the systems. So he played through the whole game without summoning, barely leveling up, barely understanding any of the systems. But he was able to push through, and then so he challenged Kai, and then so Kai basically did that. But then Kai's friends were like, "You don't need to fight the Tree Sentinel. You can just skip this guy and get stronger." And he was like, "Yeah, but he's right here though." So I think Kai just kind of got encouraged into it, but then he decided to just lean into it further.
Yeah.
And just like be like, I'm already this far in. I might as well keep going. So.
But
yeah, that's a self-imposed challenge run. That is not a normal way to play the game.
Yeah. And
completely.
And the interesting thing is, like, to give you guys an idea, right? I feel like this idea of no summons has really spread outside of our community to the point where there's this friend of mine. He is mostly dedicated to World of Warcraft. He's a content creator named Akalon. And, I like hanging out with him, chatting with him and whatnot. And I've always tried getting him into Elden Ring. And for whatever reason, when the DLC came out, he started playing Elden Ring again. He started like a fresh run, and he's playing through the game. And so
Cool.
I see him, and he's one of the catacombs, like, because he's still at the beginning of the game. He's in whatever catacomb it is that's got like one of those cat things, the cat statues. But that one also has 4 imps. So it's got the cat statue and 4 imps, and he's running around with his samurai, like, I don't know, soul level 15 or something like that. He's getting wrecked. And I'm just like, just summon something so that they'll get aggro. And he's like, no, summoning is cheating. Like, this is somebody that knows almost nothing about like the Souls community, but it's like, no, summoning is cheating. It's like, what kind of idiot told you that? And here's the other thing. People in his chat, right? Because I know he plays a warlock in World of Warcraft. I've had conversations with him because I play a warrior, and I've had conversations. He's like, oh, when you can cast spells, why would you ever play a melee character, right? This is him. And so I was like, Akalon, why aren't you playing Magic? And he's like, oh, people in chat told me it's too powerful. I was like, what kind of idiot told you this? It's so dumb. No, it's not. It's probably harder than what you're doing right now. For somebody that doesn't know how it works, Magic is actually harder. Like, to me, I rarely ever cast spells in Souls games.
Yeah.
So to me, it's actually harder to cast spells.
I have no idea how a mage build is supposed to fight. How is a mage build supposed to fight Radon? I have no idea. I know that they give you a talisman that really shortens cast time, but like other than that, though, I'm like, I don't want to try casting any spells on this dude.
So mage builds in Radon is so. Have you ever heard about this guy? He's called the Mimic Tier. And tank's real good. Mage build probably you don't want Mimic Tier. You probably want a tanky boy. What would be a good one for a mage build, Cowboy?
Dung Eater.
Oh yeah, Dung Eater. He's tanky as hell. Yeah.
Pull out Poo Poo Boy and let him just get on in there.
Oh, or the Horn Warrior Ashes, which I didn't know were the strongest one. I keep trying to push Anna and Yolan, but
dude, I want to love them so much, but they get beat down and spanked. They're not tanky
so
enough.
Squishy. They're very, very squishy. They're very aggressive and they're cool.
The Divine Birdman Ashes yet?
I did find that one. That was actually the last thing I found in the main game. I did not realize that there was a temple above the temple. I was like, how the hell did I miss that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I like him because he has the ranged attack too, which I think like Horned Warrior I think is a little tankier, but his ranged attack I think gives him a little more consistency.
Okay.
Yeah,
but those two are definitely solid for sure. But yeah, them or Dung Eater if you want to tank. The other thing, one of the new tools that mages have, which at first glance it doesn't seem like much, but that little teleport spell that you can get from the cathedral, it just looks like a teleport dodge, but you can chain spells into it, so you can you can teleport, iframe an attack, and then as you're coming out of the teleport, throw out like a night comet.
Oh, that's sick. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really strong way to get in your damage as a mage now, because you're like avoidance into damage.
Actually. Yeah, I think I'll play with that.
Yeah, I still don't do mage builds. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
My magic was throwing Mesmer's spear. That was my magic.
But to your point, Con, that's crazy that this person, that this newcomer into the Souls community, is just like being indoctrinated already, who is already a mage by trade in his other life. That makes no sense.
So that's
how powerful that indoctrination is. That this person who would not believe in that doctrine is coming in and is like, oh, well, this is when in Rome though, right? And it's like, no, this is not Rome at all. It's not Rome at all.
But
why would you play WoW by yourself and then calling a party
summoning your imp as a warlock is cheating.
Yeah,
exactly. but you know that was when I realized that, like, wow, this really goes this notion really goes way beyond the community. Like, here's somebody who is completely outside the community telling me that summons are cheating and he doesn't play a magic build because it's too strong. I'm like, you don't even know how to cast spells. What do you mean it's too strong?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, but it's a funny thing to see. So I think that in regards to this whole difficulty situation, I think that one of the best summaries was actually by the Helldivers guy, because he basically just quoted his studio mantra, which is, a game for everyone is a game for no one. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what it is. Like, I don't care if it's too hard. I was even thinking the other day, it's like, so I never played Fortnite. because I saw people like doing the building stuff, and I was like, oh, that looks terrible. I don't want to do that. Screw that. That's atrocious. Terrible system. I never said that. You know, I never actually said this on social media, like, oh, I can't stand Fortnite. It's terrible. Because I'm just like, it's just not for me. There's a ton of people that like it, apparently, so it's whatever. But nobody can do
fast,
that.
I don't want to get too far on the Fortnite tangent, but I'm of the similar mind. And then chat got me to play, and I did no build.
Yeah, no build, I've heard.
No build is like Fortnite, but for dads. Because you don't need to have the like Twitch like to build your tower. You can just run around the map and like crouch in bushes and shoot people. I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is dad speed. Okay, we can do this.
It's the old meme of like, oh, somebody shot at me, so I made like a 4-star resort with a pool.
Yeah. I actually, you know what? I actually, you know, again, not to get into a Fortnite tangent, but I actually really got addicted to Fortnite for about 3 years. And I wasn't bad at the whole building thing. I couldn't like construct like towers or whatever like that. But I can construct a little sniper nest for myself.
Get a little basic
Really
2x4 stuff real quick.
Yeah. Literally the basic 2x4. Exactly. I can do that, and I can do that real fast and on site. But that was fun. But yeah, again, that wasn't for everybody, you know. But Fortnite is trying to be the game for everybody, which is why they did no build, you know. But
So
do you really want a FromSoft game to be like Fortnite? Come on.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could look at like I don't know. Do any of y'all play like Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
I've played a little bit of it of the last one. It's definitely not for me, so I didn't stay too long.
Like I've never played it. Everything I've looked at it has been not for me. Now, I'm not going to go to Animal Crossing and be like, listen, this is too fucking casual. I want dodge rolls and I want bosses, or get the fuck out. Because that wouldn't be appropriate. So it's weird to see people come approach Dark Souls and then be like, you know,
It's too
why
hard.
isn't this more approachable for me? Like, well, this game probably ain't for you, my guy. Like, there's other games out there that are more your speed.
And
It's really weird, and we saw that happen a lot 2 years ago when Elden Ring popped off, right?
Yeah.
And
even before that, it was
these
Sekiro as well. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Elden Ring
the
was
famous,
so popular
I cheated at the Sekiro boss and I feel fine. Remember that?
that Elden Ring was so popular that you can't ignore it. Like other developers couldn't ignore it, and that's why there was that upswell of like other developers like in Europe or whatever, like playing this, and they're like, well, this must be like a mental model that they must have in Japan for this user interface to be like this, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know,
just like hard games. That's it.
Yeah, like at this point, like you're about to like break out the brain measurer and like start talking about eugenics at a certain point. And it's like, what the fuck are you? It's a video game. Just learn how to play the video game. They're like, well, I can't believe that there's a whole equipment separate tab like for your equipment. I was like, because it's equipment. Just go into the equipment tab. It doesn't take a lot, you know. But it's like people are coming into this and expecting like, oh, this must be popular, so this must be accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And they're shocked to find out, no, it's not. You know,
the interesting thing to me, well, like with the stuff you guys are talking about, was like back in the Elden Ring days, was like that whole discourse about UX. It's like, oh, my whole life is a lie. Players don't give a crap about UX, and it's like, no, actually, this looks way better than your friggin' thing with 50 different million markers everywhere, and like, no, it's way cleaner. Like the game's so clean. If you just have UI set to auto, I friggin' love it. It's like the only thing that's on screen at any given time is your compass. That's the only thing that's on screen, unless you're in combat. Yep. And they've actually perfected it, because I feel like in Dark Souls 2, they tried doing the auto thing, but it wouldn't trigger at the right time. So sometimes you'd be going into an encounter and you wouldn't realize, oh, how's my health? Like, am I good? And you die. But in this one, they actually made it perfect. Like, I've never been in a situation where it's like, oh man, I wish I could see my health right now. Like,
yeah, you don't really think about it. They did a really good job for this one.
Yeah, but one of the things that has also happened with a lot of new people joining in on the community is, and this is something that I wanted to call out because this is very important for people to keep in mind for the future, and that is spoilers. Jesus Christ, people are way too comfortable just blurting out the name of the final boss and posting screenshots of the final boss. It's been insane. Like the first time
Cenat did that. Cenat did that.
Cenat did that too. I mean, Cenat is very much new, so I kind of like I understand why you've been stuck on this boss for 60 hours or some shit. So like I get it, but
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jin. You were saying.
Collateral damage from how popular this game is, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild to see how spoilery people are, because it's like because there are other people who don't understand that we really care about the story, and we really care about the lore. It's been really interesting to see people like, for example, Quaylog. She's been playing the game, and as she's been playing the game, she was able to clock right away. Oh, Radahn's the last boss, because she's able to follow the clues throughout the game. And then so even my buddy Pat Stairs at very at the beginning, he was like, "Oh, Radahn must be the last boss. It's got to be the last boss. Don't tell me, but it must be the last boss." And he found out it was the last boss. And then I see other streamers, who, also myself, who wasn't paying attention to the story that closely, and they hit Radahn and say, "Oh my fucking god, it's Radahn!" What It's been really interesting to see. But there are people who really really care about the story, so it matters to us to find out like what these bosses is. Romina, Saint of the Bud. Doesn't sound like anybody, but that's also another character that you wouldn't want to spoil too.
Isn't she like the goddess of rot?
I think she's the origin of rot. Yeah.
Yeah. According to her remembrance, she's the one who created rot, and I was like, oh, she's the goddess of rot. She's a little bit easy for the goddess of rot. Like, I cleaned her clock real fast, but I was like, oh,
I think that might be the point. Is that like she's like the so-called goddess of rot, and it's like, okay, well, it turns out it wasn't a goddess. It was just a big old scorpion lady, and that's who people ended up worshiping.
Yeah. It was interesting. But yeah, I hope that for the future, if anybody is watching this podcast, like, listen, please don't just blurt out the last boss name, because I saw it in my example, like, that's self-inflicted, because like I started reading my comments midway before being done, and I kind of expect there might be spoilers. But like, I read a comment and this person said the final boss is just Radahn, and I was like, what? He's trolling.
Oh,
No, I thought he was trolling. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a joke.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I'm just going through my timeline. There's like a bunch of people talking about Radahn. And I was like, really? Did I just get spoiled? This is some garbage, dude. What the hell?
That sucks.
Because then, everybody's wanting to see my reactions to stuff and whatnot, and I'm recording. So I just get, oh, it's Radahn. Who could have seen that coming?
I mean, it's still a pretty cool reveal. Like, even if you know, because you can, like, even without guessing, if you're following the on-spot quest, so by the time you're at Shadowkeep, 1 + 1 = 2. You're aware that it's Radahn.
Yeah, on-spot basically tells you.
Yeah. Going in and like seeing him, and then seeing Mikola come down, and then you're like, oh, okay, like that's still. To me,
Radahn does a pose from the 2019 trailer. He never did that in the base game, but then he does his signature pose where he's like clashing his swords, and he spreads his arms open, and then like there's like a swell of gravity, like the Kamehameha gravity around him. It's like that was only in the story trailer when he was fighting Malenia. We never saw it in the base game, but here it is right now. Prime Radahn. He remembers that move. Remember? It's cool.
I thought it was really cool that they did Prime Radahn, because I always really liked Radahn's armor, and I was like, oh, I can have proper Radahn armor now instead of like this busted, moldy old piece of crap. So I was rocking that Radahn armor the second I was able to get that, so that was really cool. But
same here. I've been wearing it to help out people at the Radahn summon site too.
I had chat egg me on into
show
being
up in Radahn armor, and people freak out. It's awesome.
Chat had me engage in some degeneracy, and like it was either Saturday or Sunday, but I put on Radahn armor and his weapons and named my character Radahn Jr. and was running around invading.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm like, is this wrong? And they're like, no, just do it.
Yeah, and you're using his broken ass swords too, right? Yeah.
But you were using the old ones. Because they had the gravity
instance.
Oh, okay, that was a separate one. Okay,
it was after I beat him with the strength character, so I think that was like Saturday night or so. I
saw that one video you sent me where you just like gravity pulled 2 people into a friggin' cliff, and they're just like,
it was it was so much fun.
Those poor bastards.
I actually beat him again second time last night. It was much easier this time actually. I think Radahn visually. I think. Did you guys think? Do you guys think that they'll nerf him? They'll nerf him, right?
I hope not.
I hope not.
I don't know. They had the little nerf to base game Radahn. I hope they let Prime Radahn stay in its prime.
Yeah.
I think that they could tone down the visual effects a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to see the screen, because it's not. it's not fun to not see the screen.
Listen,
it's just all holy magic.
I've been tempered by the final boss of Remnant 2. Nothing can mess with
that boss, Jesus, yeah.
You've ever seen
I
that
will
one,
say this
Gene?
about. No, I haven't.
Oh my god.
The only thing that I think.
Oh, Remnant 2.
absolutely-
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't seen it. Yeah,
Absolutely
just
needs a
like-
nerf.
yeah.
Gaius's hitboxes. I think Gaius's hitboxes are very fucky.
No, I'll tell you the Gaius
Rush?
stuff, and so the Gaius stuff. The biggest problem with Gaius, because listen, Gaius is a boss that I had a problem with. I even sent Cowboy like my death montage I made for him. It even had like a quote from the Stallone movie Balboa, which is one where he goes like, "It ain't about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." I was able to put that in and didn't get copyright claimed. I was like, "Oh, this is great."
Some of his moves, you can time it perfectly and roll through, and like the ass of the boar will do damage to you after you are already past his character model.
Yeah,
I don't think his damage needs a nerf. I think his hitboxes need to get touched up.
See,
yeah, it's long hitbox.
Here's where I'm at with this, and you guys got to understand. So the playthrough that I did getting ready for the DLC, it was a lance playthrough because I wanted to use lances and spears for the most part during the DLC. And so lance is really good for mounted combat. So throughout the entire playthrough, whenever I had a chance to do mounted combat, I was doing mounted combat. So like all of the dragons that are in the open world, all of them died by mounted combat. All of them. I killed all of the furnace golems that didn't have stuff in their legs, mounted combat. All of them. I killed everything with mounted combat. And then I get to Gaius, and I was like, oh, I can summon Torrent. It's a massive arena. It's a whole boss about mounted combat. I was so excited. And then I jump on my horse, and it sucks. And why? Because Gaius instantly dismounts you. Like you get swiped once, boom, dismounted. Even
that's not fun.
And I was like, I don't know if I was 7 or 8 on the blessings for Torrent. So it's pretty high. You're pretty high up there at that level. Yeah. And I was just like, this sucks because I really wanted to, actually face him Lance versus Lance. Let's have a jousting match. And it just was not doable. I feel like the idea of having the horse there is for when he does his big AoE thing, you mount up and you run away. Yeah, when it does his Giga Crusher, just like you mount up and you run away. That's the reason why the horse is there. But that was the biggest frustration for me because I spent a lot of attempts trying to do him mounted, and it's just not supposed to be done because he runs faster than you. He has mega hitboxes like Cowboy says, and I don't even mind him having mega hitboxes. Just let me withstand like 2 hits without getting dismounted, and I'll be fine. Problem is like anything he does, like you're dismounted and then you're like in the ground for like 3 seconds trying to get up, and he just goes there's like slam, murders you. So yeah.
I didn't have a problem with Gaius, but now that you describe it the way that you did, I do have a problem with it because this was a lost opportunity for a good set piece battle with mounted combat.
Mounted combat, yeah.
And in FromSoft, this is the first game that FromSoft has done with mounted combat. So and it's cool. Like we can, the update made us fight Elden Beast now with mounted combat, and I've been seeing clips of that. And that looks like a lot of fun, like hopping over the Elden Beast like ring attack with Torrent.
Yeah,
that looks like a proper battle now. This looks like an actual like a proper final fight. So I would love an actual set piece battle where a mounted combat looks really cool and like feels really cool, and is completely doable. And I feel like that they're doing that because FromSoft has been better about the set piece battle. Rykard obviously was the highlight of the base game with the Great Serpent Sword, where it's like just pick up this big sword and hit this big snake, and that's just the fight, just roll it and just like smack this snake with his mega powerful sword. I think Bale is also kind of a set piece fight with Egon. Egon being basically indestructible,
He is.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He is unkillable.
No, I think he died on one of my attempts.
I think you died in the flame and didn't notice that Egon was probably still chilling in the corner shooting.
No, because I think I heard like his death roar or something. Oh no! And
he does kind of disappear for a while, or maybe you just stop noticing him because there's fire and lightning all over.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much shit going on in that arena.
There's a ton of stuff.
It's very easy to.
But Gaius could have been a fun fight, like Torrent versus another pig fight or whatever like that. That's a lost opportunity. I agree.
Did you see the buff they put to the Dragon Hunter's katana after launch?
Of course it's the longsword weapon. Of course they buffed it. Longswords get all the best stuff.
I tried that out, and during our review phase, and I was like, this is okay. It doesn't seem that good. I went in the other day and I fought Bale with it, and I was chunking him for like 5,000 per Ash of War, just smacking him straight in his face. It's insane.
Okay. All right, I'll have to try that out. That's good. That's good. The Dragon Hunter katana should be.
It should fuck up dragons, and it does.
Yeah.
It shreds dragons now.
Did you see that the moveset? Because I don't really use those katanas, so I never tested it. But
yeah, it's a 1-to-1 to the longsword.
It's a 1-to-1 to the longsword in Monster Hunter.
Longsword. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, just to cap off the mounted combat thing, because I always see people say that it is. It's like awkward and whatnot, and it's like, no, when you get used to it, mounted combat's friggin' sweet. I think it's a lot of fun.
It's thrilling.
I think it's awkward.
I like it.
I'm in the awkward camp.
No, but it's like I can kill pretty much any except dogs. Dogs is hard to kill on horseback because they just like start jumping all over the place. It's a little bit harder, but once you get used to it, even dogs are not a big problem.
It just feels like a constant joust to me. Like I don't feel like I'm doing combat as much as I'm just jousting.
But that's it. It's what it's supposed to be. It's a joust.
I mean, if you like that, you like that.
Yeah,
I'm not big on, because I play Colossals a lot. So you want to get the charged heavy, and then you got to like okay, and you got to like let go at just the right time, so you get the big.
I
love
that.
Chunk
so it's cowboy skill.
Yeah,
issue.
Con and I are on the same boat. Like I love just kiting around a fight and just like dive bombing in with the colossal, then just shrived and clean as you swing by. I love that. It's great.
The fun thing is that with the Smith script weapons, now not only you can do the regular stuff, you can be yeeting Mesmer's spear from the horse. It's so good. Boom, boom.
I was doing that with the hammer. It was so fun. just feeling like Thor on Torrid. It's crazy.
You can throw the hammer from the horse. I tried it yesterday. I couldn't get it to work.
Oh, no?
Is it not R2?
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah.
No, I don't think you can throw the hammer.
Yeah, hammer. The only horse throws are.
The daggers. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the
daggers. Yeah. It's the spears work. The daggers I haven't tried, but yeah.
Spears work. The regular spear is kind of disappointing though. The range is pitiful on that poor thing.
The range on Mesmer's is also pretty pitiful now. The other thing that bothered me about Mesmer, it wasn't affected by magma, even though it leaves magma behind. There's the magma charm, doesn't work. I was like, oh.
It's real. I tried using the magma blade with it, and I feel like I didn't see much of an impact. I think there might be a couple of conditional bugs like that going on.
That amulet is probably designed for like magma spells. Are there magma spells? I would imagine there are.
Yeah, there's a whole subset of Gelmir spells, and then you of course have Bale's incantation. So it's probably designed to help those and not the magma ashes.
But like speaking of Bale, we were talking about Bale, and I wanted to give a shout out to what's his name? Something Lind. Damn it! Somebody said the name earlier of the voice actor. Bro, that's like top tier voice. The Egon guy.
Egon is amazing,
dude. When I first summoned him, and here's the thing: people that did not summon for that fight, they missed out. Like peak voice acting. He just comes out, curse you, Bale! You will ruin this. He's got like this big long lines. I freaking love it. He's amazing.
Instant classic, like instantly right up there with like Solaire and like Tarkus as like one of the best side characters in a Souls game for sure.
Egon is friggin' amazing, and then you look at his. Go ahead.
Rolling for your life in the fight, and you just hear him, "I'll fill you with harpoons in your heart," and I'm just like fighting for my life out here. He's just monologuing and loosing these giant bolts out.
I mean, it's beautiful because it's like a captain. He's our Captain Ahab, and Bale is his Moby Dick, right? And then so right now we're in this epic fight of Ahab versus Moby Dick, like rolling around, and he's like screaming his ass off, and you're trying to make sense of anything, and just
trying to survive.
Yeah, just trying to survive. Like the whole like energy of that fight is just incredible. It's so good. I loved it.
It's the other really cool thing about that is obviously also, like you guys have pointed out, the detail that I didn't even notice. The fact that he's got like the heads of Placidus Axe or whatever. When I started seeing that on my timeline, I was like, what the hell? That's metal as hell, dude. That's insane. He's wearing the other dude's carcass. And apparently People were saying that there's like this little detail, which I wasn't able to pay too much attention because I was focused on the fight. But so he's missing a leg. That part I noticed. Like is I think it's his left
propping
hind leg.
himself up with his tail.
He's propping himself up with his tail. I was like, that's crazy. And the fact that like his wings all busted, and then he like, oh, I'll just enchant that with lightning, and now it's a lightsaber. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, and in his second phase, oh man, the music. First of all, the music in this game during the boss fights are amazing. I couldn't believe that the music kept changing melodies every time the Divine Dancing Lion kept changing elements. I was like, I just didn't want the fight to end. I was like, oh, this is incredible. And then so when Bale enters the second phase, the music quiets down.
Yeah, then
he's
it's
just charging up.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then the music just swells at the same time that the lightning wings, he just grows red lightning wings on his back, and then the music just explodes. I'm like, oh, this is just peak like narrative storytelling in terms of like just like timing the visuals and the gameplay and the music all together at the same time. I couldn't believe it. And so they're really cooking in terms of like, just turning out like set pieces in for these fights actually.
It's actually very impressive because I feel like there was more attention to detail on the OST side of things in this DLC than there was in the base game because it's more dynamic. I feel like there's even more combat tracks even just out in the open world, and depending on how things are going, it might swap a little bit. It's crazy the amount of detail they went through with that stuff.
Although unfortunately, the overworld theme is now forever tied to Dr. Disrespect.
Oh God,
the gloomy scene.
Dude, it's just like
every
time I hear that, I just think about Dr. Disrespect having the worst day of his life, and it's just like, oh man, I can't wait till like my mind stops associating that shit with this game.
It's the second
I'm gonna be playing this game a lot, so
it's the second time that he's done this too. Because the other time he was also on camera, and all of a sudden his mood completely shifts. It's like, oh no, and then he gets banned from Twitch. And now this stuff comes out. It's like, oh my God, this is insanity.
Oh my God. Elden Ring, calm down, dude.
It's messed up. It's very
life imitates art.
Oh God. Yeah. So I don't want to
again, the soundtrack is perfect with his timing in the game and in real life. Dr. Disrespect entering his third and final phase.
Jesus. God damn. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with the Dr. Disrespect stuff, yeah, because it's like there's so much to talk about when it comes to that, because it's just insane. Because it's not even me, it's not even just Doc. There's quite a bit of responsibility on Twitch as well, but both of them.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, but so since we're talking about the music, another thing that I wanted to bring up is like the art style and visuals that they've done for this DLC. Like, is it just me? So wait. First of all, Gene, you played on PS5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Cowboy, we played on PC. And it's like,
PC, yeah.
I feel like there's more visual fidelity, not even just talking about art style, but more visual fidelity in the DLC than in the base game. Like there were improvements made in the engine in the DLC. Did you guys also feel that? Damn.
I would say
I feel like
on
it was
PC,
maybe a little bit
yes.
busier.
Yeah. Well, because I was doing the walkthrough initially on PS5, and I noticed that the Lands of Shadow are real big on rain and fog, and it kind of leaves like a muddy haze on PlayStation where you really can't see shit. And on PC, I noticed I get that muddy haze less often.
Yeah, I was impressed by the amount of like textures and like the flowers. The Cerulean Coast had so many flowers.
So Cerulean and Sharos definitely very, very vibrant compared to what we have in the base game for sure.
Exactly, yeah. I think those two areas and the hinterlands and of course the Finger Ruins, all of those places just really add to like the diversity of the biomes. I think the Realm of Shadow is a cooler map than the base game overall.
Yeah. But the thing about those places that you guys bring up is that I feel like in those it's not even about the visual fidelity. It's more so about the art style, because I felt that the Shadow of the Erdtree almost has a different art style than the base game, which is they dialed up the contrast to 11. There's way more contrast. And there are moments where they're doing some really weird things. So for instance, when you're in the Shadow Altus, and if it's like noon or something, the tones of like pasty yellow and the black stuff coming out of the sky, it almost makes it look like a painting. Very intentionally, I feel like, which is insane. And you don't really have moments exactly like that in the other one. But specifically in Sharon's Hidden Tomb, or whatever it was called, the one with the red flowers, I think that there are moments where they specifically dial up the vibrancy of the flowers, and they dial down every other color so that it almost looks like black and white with the red of the flowers spread throughout the whole thing. That's the vibe that I got. Like, they're doing some crazy stuff with the art in there. I friggin' loved it.
Yeah, yeah. I thought even like the lightning effects around Bale's volcano was really cool too.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
the way that built up, and also just if you go to the cliffside by the Abyssal Woods, you can see this the skybox split between the gold and the complete blackness of the Abyssal Woods at the bottom. It's pretty cool, and you're just like, what's down there? And then you go down there. And
Hell.
It's
Hell is down there.
Hell,
It's
yeah,
a
hell
fun
is
little
indeed
zone.
what is down there.
Cowboy had such a hard time with that part. I aced it completely because I had the talismans that, one, make you invisible, and two, make you silent even while you're sprinting. So I was literally sprinting through that whole zone, no problem. I never got caught once, and I have no idea what getting caught looks like. I only saw that. I only saw that once I saw
it's
that
very,
other people's
very
streams.
Bloodborne Winter Lantern-y, except they just keep you there until you die.
They're called Winter Lanterns as well.
Yeah.
They're called Winter Lanterns here too.
Yeah.
Well, now that we know that they can be parried, though, that's going to change everything.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either, because you just see the messages. And this is another interesting thing. So there was that Eurogamer review where they said the game is too hand-holdy. And they were talking about the Abyssal Woods. It's one area in the game where they give you a couple of more messages. That was it. Like, everywhere else, there's almost no guidance whatsoever. You'll see one of those messages every now and then. I was like, what?
To be the best irony, because people were dogpiling Eurogamer over their review. Like, oh, is the game too hard for the press babies? Oh, you can't beat it? Fast forward 1 week, this is bullshit. I'm a fucking Dark Souls veteran, and this is not balanced. And it's like, oh, how the tables have turned.
I thought the difficulty part of that review was fine, but I think that review also said that she didn't engage with like any of the new weapons and stuff like that. And say, okay, well, you could have done that, and maybe that could have made things easier. I also don't understand the hand-holdy part for the dev messages there, because it's like, yeah, I get it. It would have been kind of cool to just walk into the Abyssal Woods and not know
just get fucked up.
But I also
just get fucked up. Try to kill those things.
Yeah, just fucking walk in
and
progress. Just do that, right? Or I thought the death messages were a good mood setter. It kind of made things a little creepy, you know. I was like, oh, I'm entering the survival
Torn is
horror
afraid
game.
to be summoned, and then you cannot escape. Do not run. Don't let them see you. You're like, what the fuck is here, man? Like, what is about to happen?
Yeah, and it's a wide open space, so you really don't know what to expect. So like even me, I was a little scared, and then once I saw what it was, I was like, oh, let me slap on these talisman and start sprinting through.
You did it.
I sprinted through, but they saw me, and I had to do some fantastically timed rolls. I had like 3 chasing me at a point, and I would just be like, dodge, dodge, eat a bolus, dodge, 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 eat a bolus, dodge, dodge, hop over a tree, grab a heal, eat a bolus, dodge, 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 dodge. And then finally I like lost the aggro, and I'm like, fuck y'all, I'm out. I've reached the manse. You can't get me.
I dodged one of them once. I think every other time that I was spotted, I think I was caught. But the one that I dodged, I just started. I basically was like, I will go back to my World of Warcraft roots of when I had to grind arena, and I will pillar hump like a boss. I just like go around this really long tree, and eventually the thing just gave up. It was like, man, screw this, I'm leaving. And I was like, yeah, that's right.
Worth the chase.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of how I got. But I basically did not want it to go back there. I don't know if I missed anything important in that swamp. Is there anything important there in the Abyssal Woods?
No,
there
not
are
really.
two cookbooks. There is a increased attack power after madness talisman that you can get from
if you parry them,
killing one, and then there's I think 2 fragments in the woods location. There's one by the church, and then there's one down a path.
There's one down a path. Yeah.
I'm not.
That's probably the fragment you were missing, Gene.
I think it was. Yeah, it probably was.
So it's in the middle of the
it's a weird little zone
to explore.
Yeah,
it's a weird little zone to explore too. Because it's not that vertical, but it kind of is because you got all these weird hills and branches.
Yeah, I got once I got to the manse, I was like, oh, thank God, I'm done with this place. I'm just gonna do the manse and I'll be done. And that was actually one thing that I would like to point out. I was a little bit disappointed in, which is not like oh my God, I'm so mad, but it's like I embraced the three fingers before I started the DLC just because I was curious. Is anybody gonna acknowledge that I got like fire eyes and I'm here to let chaos rule the world? And so when I realized, oh wait, this whole thing is about the frenzied flame. And it doesn't even acknowledge that I've embraced the three fingers. I was like, oh man, could have been like a throwaway line in there of the boss saying like, no, you're not the Lord of Flame. I am the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Just like a throwaway line, I feel like would have been nice to acknowledge that, I embraced the three fingers, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I just discovered last night. Melina appeared in the Land of Shadow for me. One time.
Yeah, you can
She sat out. It was at a grace, and she didn't say anything new. She actually just repeated, "Oh, you got to go to the snowy mountaintop to burn the fire." I was like, "That's weird that you would tell me that here." But yeah.
Yeah, she didn't show. She was pretty mad with me because I embraced the three fingers. She was like, "No, I told you not to do that. Never talking to you again."
Yeah, but yeah, that it is too bad that there's like zero interaction between the main game and the base game in terms of like narrative and everything like that. Because like I kept Millennia alive, and then I killed Mikola, and I go back. I'm like, "What's up, bitch? I found him."
There's
and then
nothing.
He doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything. Yeah, she just says, "I'm still the blade of Mikola."
Not anymore.
Yeah,
the blade of a corpse now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's cool because it's like the game finally answers the question that we all had in 2019 or 2021, which was, what the hell did Millennia say to Radon right before she exploded?
What did she say? I still don't know.
She said, it's an armor description of Radon, but he says,
okay, I haven't read that yet. I bought it and I wore it and I didn't read it.
Yeah. She says Mikola awaits thee, O promised consort.
Mikola. Oh.
Yeah. So the one of the big questions in the base game was, why did Millennia and Radon fight? And there was no real strong answer for that other than, oh, it's a Shattering War, so everybody was fighting.
Yeah. But it was to kill Radon so that he would go to the Shadow Realm. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, it was an assassination attempt from Mikola to Millennia to Radon, so he can go to the Shadow Realm. That failed. He's just tanking the Scarlet Rot for ages and ages. And that's what happened.
So one of the things that I've noticed, and I thought it was a very good thing. Did you guys feel like the NPC quests were a little bit more streamlined this time around? Like they were easier to follow without a guide?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought
the thing is, like, I love the obscurity of Elden Ring, but that was one of my big things with the first game is some of the NPC side quests when combined with just the nature of the open world. Like the Grape Lady quest.
I knew that was I knew that was coming. Like, the moment you started talking, I was like, "He's gonna bring up Grape Lady."
Grape Lady, dude. Like, but they're because it's like, where did they go? They could have gone anywhere, and so the NPCs being like at main graces and then very much like along main path. I think it adds a little bit of structure into an otherwise incredibly chaotic and random world. And so I think it was a nice transition having the NPC quests be a little more structured. And then you're getting that little bit of lore up front, like you didn't realize, but like, me and Gene were saying, if you're getting into the fray and the Ansbach dialogue by the Shadowkeep, you're like, oh, fuck, they're taking Mog's body and shoving Radon's soul into it and turning him into Mikola's fuck toy. Like, this is messed up. Like, what is going on here? But like getting that, just that little bit, and then being able to dive deeper on your own. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too. Like the simple fact that I was able to follow like the quest with Lita and the Horn Scent a little bit better. Like, because for instance, that quest reminded me a lot of Salin and Jaren, which I never did organically. I looked it up eventually. And, this is how
you basically have to, yeah.
Yeah, because
there's one NPC and the fuck off over here and the other one over here, and there's a quest between them, but like, how you gonna figure that out?
Yeah, it's crazy. So, and this time I was like, oh, I organically ran into her. I see that Lita's losing her mind and she just wants to kill everybody, and somebody's got to go. Well, I guess the Horn Scent can go. I don't like the way he looks anyway. And then you get the summon signs there and the Shadowkeep, and I was like, oh, this is very organic. I was able to just like do it as I was playing the game. This felt really nice.
Imagine siding with Lita.
Yeah, I know she's a psychopath. I don't think I will do that again. she's
the ultimate simp. The rune's
she
broken.
is,
Let's
yeah.
find out who's not true to our lord. Kill him.
It was instant. It was like the second the rune is broken, she's like, oh, somebody's going to betray us. I know. I'm going to have to kill them all.
Yeah, I also liked that it was a lot more straightforward too. Even Count Emir's quest line, which was very, very easy to figure out once you know
his maps, though.
No. Count you. I mean, it was easy to figure out where the stuff was, but like I couldn't get to the hinterlands. I would have never gotten to the hinterlands at all.
Yeah, so you needed Cowboy's help. I tried to get Cowboy's help, but he couldn't find out where the O Mother gesture was.
He told me, hey, if you find the O Mother gesture, let me know. Gene's looking for it. I was like, sure thing.
I was like, oh my god. So and then he fucked me up because he was like, oh yeah, I remember I saw it in like some meditating room. So I kept going to like every.
I remembered it was at a statue, but there's like 100 America statues in this DLC.
Yeah. So I kept looking for that, and that's why I had to ask IGN for that, and then they told me, oh, it's north of Bonnie Village. I was like, what the fuck is so important about Bonnie Village that's there to open up to the hinterlands? And then now we know, okay, so America's people were being chopped up in Bonnie Village, and
to make jars.
That's what happened. Yeah, and being placed into jars, and that's
they
how
would
America
spirit away
wanted
the shamans, and that's why America's like, I'm gonna nobody's ever gonna die again. No, it was more the opposite. She was like, I'm gonna remove the rune of death from the Elden Ring, and nobody's gonna die ever again.
Well, that's in the Elden Ring, and in the Shadow Realm, she sent Mesmer on a genocide.
Butcher everybody. Murder everybody.
But yeah, I also had a hard time finding hinterlands too until I found the O Mother gesture.
But it was funny because
once you figure that out, then Count Emir's questline is pretty easy to figure.
I like the map. There was a meme I already saw. It's like, here's a map, and it's just like a couple fucking squiggles, and you're like, like what?
Oh, and then you can't zoom into the maps too, which is kind of fucked up. You know?
Yeah, it would be good to get like a full screen of those bad boys.
Well, I did that for that and the paintings. I would grab a screenshot of it, and then I'd put it on a monitor and just full size it, so I could actually like see what the fuck that image is.
I don't know if
that's what I did
a
too. I
single
was
one of the
and then zoom in on my phone. You know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but it was interesting doing that stuff. And the one quest that I tried helping Cowboy out with was the Thiolier quest, because apparently everybody that Cowboy was talking with had already progressed past that point. And I was the only one. No, I haven't spoken with Thiolier yet. And the rune just busted. And he was like, okay, listen, you got to go talk to Thiolier and then go down there and do that thing. And I was like, okay, fine. And so I go and I do that. And then we're like theorizing. I'm like, no, dude, you got to be a dragon. You're a dragon, and then you drink the thing.
The causation of us on that one, where I was like, because it just happened to be that I used the rune on my 4th attempt, and she started talking, and I'm like, it's the rune, and then I'm sure you were doing dragon form. You're like, no, it's the dragon, it's the dragon.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, you just had to fucking die 4 times. It was
It's so dumb. It should, like, logically though, Cowboy, what would be the best thing for that quest? 4 tries, the dragon, or the rune? What would make the most sense?
See, I would figure in my mind. Well, so the logic behind the dragon was the Thioli concoction, which there is. That did you ever figure that out?
No,
I did. Yeah.
Are you okay with that being spoiled for you now?
I finished the game. I don't care.
You give it to the ancient dragon lady at the dragon communion. You basically fucking roofie her. She falls asleep, gets sad because she fell asleep, and you go, surprise, I actually did it. And she goes, oh, you sneaky boy, here's my ashen summon.
Oh.
That is how you get her summoned.
So you put her to sleep and then you kill Bale, because otherwise you kill Bale and she's gone.
And she disappears,
She's gone,
but so
my that is a way to keep her alive.
Yeah, I thought the rune, I'm like, well, maybe imbibing the nectar is charming us because Trina is part of Mikola, so using Mikola's rune, we resist the charm, and therefore we don't die. Which I think that follows a pretty good logical conclusion. It just
especially because you can't enter that area before the Great Rune is broken too, because it's sealed. It is quote unquote sealed and obscured by Mikola.
Yeah.
And then the Great Rune breaks, and then the obscuration disappears. So it would make sense. Now that I have the Great Rune, killed the sunflower for it. I found a great rune. Okay, well now maybe this was the key to unlocking Trina. But I figured that wasn't the case because I was telling Susie Hunter that I was the Sphere Hunter how to do it, but she didn't use the rune at all. She didn't have it.
Yeah.
And she just imbibed and she heard the voices. I was like, oh, you just heard the voices anyways. So that's what
Yeah.
I figured. Like, oh, I guess you just
Die
have to
4
keep dying.
times. Just it's
Yeah.
such
Die 4 times, yeah. It was
Yeah.
so basically, if you and I hadn't spoken, Cowboy, I would have gone there, used the dragon thing, and I was like, oh, never mind, I was wrong. Then I wouldn't have even done the quest. But because I killed myself 3 times, because you were like, oh, put on the, what was it, the Lamenter's outfit, become a Lamenter, because then you won't be a human anymore, and maybe
you won't be a
that'll
human,
fix it.
so maybe it won't imbibe you.
So it was funny, like, testing out all those different theories at St. Trina. That was really cool. But yeah, I think that quests this way were better than they were in Elden Ring. But at the same time, it's also just a consequence of things being more squished together and more concentrated, which I think is when these games really shine, as opposed to, I think Elden Ring is cool, but I think Elden Ring is way too vast, whereas this one being more compact made it better.
I'm curious what they do next, because I'm sure they're going to go for a new IP, but I don't think it's likely. But I think there's still enough lore left. They could do an Elden Ring too.
Oh yeah,
and
they bought. I think they bought the rights from Bamco, didn't they? I saw some.
I assumed they just had the rights.
No, I think that Bamco had the publishing rights for Elden Ring, but I think they bought it off them or something. I don't know. I remember seeing some news article about that, but I could be wrong. I mean, don't put too much.
I know
faith on that
there was
statement.
something about FromSoft wanting to get into self-publishing. There was an article about that like a year and a half or 2 years ago, but I don't know if anything ever came from that, because that's the big thing with the Bandai relationship is, the global publishing makes things easier on them, so they can just focus on dev. Which, like, personally, I like Bandai publishing because, just FromSoft being a Japanese-based company, it's much harder to get in touch with somebody.
Oh yeah.
And,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
I mean, that's the issue I'm having with the Wukong right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are like, "Are you going to cover Wukong?" And I'm like, I mean, I Google translated an email into Chinese. I don't think that was received very well. But there's no U.S. contact as far as I know. So the only thing I can do is like send an email off to the Chinese email address and hope I get a reply.
Yeah, let me know if they reply. I'd be interested in sending them an email too.
Yeah.
You shouldn't translate it on Google though. Use ChatGPT. They're a little bit more accurate, I think. But yeah. So with it being a little bit smaller, one of the cool things that I feel that they've done is the smaller dungeons, there's less of them, but they're more meaningful. Did you guys feel that way too?
I was really, really surprised once I entered the first Belarus jail, and I was like, "Oh, it's all jars." I was like, these dungeons will just have themes now, and then it turns out that there are 3 separate.
Yeah,
I think there are 3 separate ways of dungeons that this DLC has. There's jails, right?
There's
and then
jails,
there's the
caves, and
forges.
forges.
And then there's the regular
catacombs.
catacombs. But they do a really good job. But they do some clever things with the catacombs here, and there aren't that many of them, right? It was interesting that the forges didn't have any boss battles. That was very
throwing
discombobulating.
people off.
Yeah, that was very disorienting for me because you expect at least a throwdown at the end of each section.
I mean, those golems are the boss, man. Those things.
Yeah, there's a Telu's kids, basically Telu golems, and then you find an awesome weapon, the ancient meteoric sword. Oh my goodness,
That thing's very good. Yeah,
I did not realize how powerful that was until the last 2 days, and I had been using that to get through the DLC, and it is absolutely melting every boss. I'm having no trouble with every.
Is so impressive.
Yeah. The wing, the ash move where it does a stinger, and then you press L2 again to do a white lightning attack. That is an AOE, and it hits really, really hard. It's crazy.
It's always the swords. It's never the hammers.
You got your anvil hammer.
Yeah, it's all right.
You got the animal hammer.
It's all right.
And then there's the new hammer. I haven't used it, but someone was saying the Black Steel Great Hammer, the guard counter, does the same thing.
Oh, it's so good. I love that thing, dude. I friggin' love that thing.
So does the guard counter just always do a mini Radigan thing?
Yes,
That's awesome.
every single time, and it's so satisfying. So
I've
my
been doing
idea,
like a huge guard counter playthrough. I should have probably spec to use that.
the thing is, right? I think Anvil Hammer still beats it out in sheer damage, right? And the problem is that thing deals holy damage, so you got split damage into holy. But it just feels so good because there's been a lot of times where I'm fighting an enemy. 'Cause I only started using this yesterday because I was like, I'll just do spears and great spears in my first playthrough, because then I can experience the other weapons all over for the first time on stream and it'll be fun. So I was playing with that, and the really cool thing is that you do a guard counter, and so you'll hit the enemy and you won't break their gauge. Then the explosion comes and it breaks their gauge, and it feels really good. Because you're just like,
that sounds
boom,
awesome.
and then it breaks, and then you get the counter. I was even thinking about doing like a paladin type playthrough, because you get all this holy stuff happening, and I was like, oh, I could just put like prayerful strike on this hammer, because you can change the Ash of War on that.
Yeah.
So you just put prayerful strike and you can heal, and then you put like that thing where whenever you do a crit, you gain mana back. So you can just be like healing, busting people up, crits, mana back. And I was like, oh, this is really, really cool. Very satisfying.
Prayerful Strike Great Stars has been my like get shit done stick since the base game. Like if I'm ever like, oh, that's what I did with the walkthrough. Like I wasn't, guys would keep getting me with some bullshit. Finally, I'm like, all right, here comes Prayerful Strike Great Stars, and you just chill there and just bonk, heal, bonk, bleed, heal, stagger, whack, you're dead. I can't. It gets shit done, man.
Yeah.
You guys play a lot with the deflecting heart tier?
Oh, it's Sekiro parries basically. Yeah,
I haven't.
Sekiro tier.
I haven't. I saw Ratatosker do Gaius dirty with it, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Basically, while he was streaming, I go on Discord, and I go, hey, fuck you, buddy. I see what you're doing.
I was using it with Shield of Night, because like, the blocking on a small shield isn't very good.
Yeah.
So with Shield of Night, you're instantly mitigating and getting that like 3,000 that big Ash follow up where you just shoot them.
But that's like what I'm planning on doing for this playthrough, since I have that counter hammer. So I have the counter hammer. I put myself with Black Steel Shield, because I don't like the way that fingerprint shield looks. I know it's better, but it's just a big slab of rock. I don't think
it's hard. It's hard to fashion around. If you want to do Paladin, honestly, get a Erdtree shield, because that's what I've been like. The start of my playthrough, people were like, "Is this a Dex guy?" Because he's in Tree Sentinel, leg, chest, helm. He has clean rock gauntlets for the weight, because those still match, and then Erdtree shield is like a pure white with gold around it.
I know what it is.
Yeah, perfect for the Paladin vibe.
The thing is, I just like the look of the Black Steel Shield. It looks really cool.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah,
that's what I'm using.
And on top of it, it's like, besides Moor, and because Moor is just OP, right? In terms of blocking, nothing beats Moor's. But besides
does Moor's beat Fingerprint?
Oh yeah, Moor's is 90 guard boost at max.
Oh, wow.
I mean, at least according to Fextra Life. I actually have it leveled up, but I never checked in game. The other day I was just like comparing it on Fextra Life.
I'm gonna do it while we're in the cast. I wanna.
Yeah, but wait,
I'm a big shield enjoyer.
Before you upgrade that, be aware, Moor's shield, you can't change the Ash of War, which fucking sucks.
Oh, because it's that
it's just that push thing. It doesn't even deal damage. It just pushes stuff around. It's really lame.
That's too bad.
So it does a ton of damage, and it's got the most block of anything, but it's not customizable, and the default Ash of War is really good if you want to push something off a cliff, but other than that, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you know what? I wish Lada's sword was customizable too, because that wing stance Ash of War I love so much, and the fact that you can only put it on the Milady is a bummer. And it's like, okay,
it's a little weird how they did that on a couple weapons. Like, here's a new unique Ash of War for this new weapon type, and by the way, here's the one weapon it can go on. Like,
here's the one weapon that can use it. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Like the dry leaf martial arts stuff, there's only like 2 of them, and then you can only use
palm blast and then flippy kicks.
Yeah, and then you get the flippy kicks and the Tatsumaki. But yeah, and then the wing stance, like like I like the Milady, but like I like Lita's sword the way it looks better. But you're just stuck with that PvP needle, Ash of War, which is fine, and it's actually terrible in PvE. The Lita's Ash of War with the 10 needles. It misses all the time.
That's one of the things about some of the Ashes of War, is that a lot of them that we're getting, they look really cool, but then you go to use them and it's like, oh,
Yeah, they kinda whip.
this is terrible. So, for instance, one of my favorite ones is the one that you get on the guy before Mesmer, which is just like a big laser blast, which works.
Fire Lance?
Yeah, the Fire Lance.
Yeah.
That thing sucks.
No, Fire Lance is goated, dude.
No.
kidding me?
Unless they patched it, because like I'm trying to use that.
They patched it. They patched it. There's been a lot. Are you talking? Have you used it recently?
No, I haven't used it in a while because I've been playing my other character.
I would say it's one of the best ashes of the war in the DLC. It is incredibly, because you can, when you charge it, you do crazy damage. And if you charge it up and then you release it blank range, you're getting the hit from the Fire Lance and the hit from the weapon. I was using it in walkthrough prep. I used it against Gaius, and I would hit him for about 4,500 to 5,000 damage with it.
What?
Yeah, I was
Wait, what charms are you using?
I mean, it's an 80 Faith build. And it's obviously enchanted flame art, but yeah, I could probably find the clip and send it to you. But anyway, point is, it's good.
Crazy.
It's very good now.
No, because like
Plus you get the fire buff
I was getting like
30 seconds or whatever.
I was getting like 900 damage off of that thing, but I'm doing fire scaling or whatever with it. Or sometimes I would really be fire or heavy, and I have like 60 strength, but it's like it wasn't cutting it. It just and the thing was, it takes so long to charge that I'm trying to get those 2 hits in, but because it takes so long on a lot of bosses, I wouldn't even be able to get the 2 hits. So I just get like the 900 damage from shooting the thing, and I was just like, bro, this is terrible.
Yeah, I keep switching between that and then Flame Skewer, the one where you like giant hunt into the flame toss.
Yeah, that one's good. That one I like.
Yeah.
That
one has really nice poise damage because you can skewer, flame toss, 1 light attack, and then they're usually staggered right there.
Yeah, it's pretty beast. The thing was, I'm not sure how I feel about what they did with that with the spear sword, because you can only dual wield it with like rapiers, and it's so with great rapiers. Yeah, the sword lance. Because I was like, no, I want to dual wield this with a great spear, like with the proper lance, the sword lance, and the lance, and that friggin' sucked. But yeah, and even the moveset of that weapon's so weird. This is like this big lance, and you're just like wielding it like a rapier, and I was like, so why? It's weird. I didn't like it.
It's a heavy thrusting, right?
Yeah, it's heavy thrusting.
Yeah, so you could pair it with the Fire Knight Quellig's greatsword, or with like Godwin, the Godwin poker.
The Fire Knight. Oh wait, the quelling, yeah, yeah.
That's a heavy thrusting.
I wasn't able to unlock that one because I gave him the other iris.
Oh yeah.
I messed that up.
Yeah, you got Dookie Ash instead.
Yeah,
I don't know how good
that's
he
what
is.
that's why I got bummed when I got Anna Yulan. I was like, oh, 2 Black Knights, awesome, and I started using it. I'm like, maybe I could have used that Black Katana.
I had someone trying to tell me, they're like, oh, Blade, the katana's garbage, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing, you do the Ash of War, and if somebody's trying to block you, they just die. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Ash.
In PvE, obviously situational, but PvP, that's, oh, here comes Mr. Great Shield. Sit down.
So, what was you guys' favorite new weapon? You can only pick
Pre-nerf,
one.
Current, or pre? Because
that's rough.
Before the buff, I would have had to have given it to the Smithscript hammer. That thing was just the goat.
Oh, I'm so sad. I never experienced it because like I picked it up and I was like, oh, I'm saving this for my other playthrough. It's gonna be so awesome.
Wait, did they?
Oh, they nerfed it into the ground. That thing is worthless
all
now.
the Smith scripts now. I mean, it's still it's decent, but the throwing damage on all of them was significantly decreased. Like Mesmer's spear, when we were on press, I would chuck it at Gatefront and I'd hit for about 800. Now it hits for about 250.
Damn. Yeah, even the daggers, which I like, the damage is like okay, and then it doesn't really go that far either.
Yeah, I upgraded all of those all of the Smithscript weapons that I liked. So like the axe and the hammer, those were like my 2 favorite ones. So I was like, oh, I gotta get these, and then I threw them, and I was like, oh my god, oh no.
I don't know if I could pick one weapon. If I could.
You have to
narrow
pick
it down.
It's just one. Just one,
just
Cowboy.
One.
You need to tell me which one of your kids you like the most.
the bonking sunflower.
Yeah.
The one that
It's
you
basic-
get from the sunflower boss.
It's
Okay.
basically the hammer from Monster Hunter. You just bonk, 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 bonk. That thing, dude. There were bosses that I just pancaked repeatedly to kill with that thing. It's amazing.
Interesting. What
For
about
me,
you,
it's the
Gene?
ancient. It's the ancient meteoric sword right now. I've just been playing it a couple days, but oh my goodness, like it's been fun going back to the main game. I just fought Millennia with it, no shield, just using that as my blocker, using
I bet she got
hard
knocked
shield.
on her ass.
Yeah, it was so much fun to just bully Millennia with that big ass sword, and then using the deflecting hard tier, so she's not healing off me every time she hits me because I'm deflecting her.
Wait, so with the
Um,
deflect, she doesn't get to heal?
No,
It
she
counts.
doesn't.
It counts as I guess a soft parry would be the way to describe it. So you lose like a
Interesting.
tiny little bit of health. You lose almost no stamina. As far as I don't think you ever put somebody into like the riposte
Parry
animation
stick.
from
no,
it.
I don't think
Yeah,
you do.
but
No.
for the purpose of like blocking, it's insanely strong.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
to
but
try
then
that.
but then I also have the talisman that enhances guard counters too, so I use that.
Yeah, block.
Um,
Boom.
Yeah, and then also the tier that destroys poise. So using that,
Yep.
I just bring it to the knees, just do the visceral every single time. And then the L2 attack is just so much fun to just pop off. you
I
know?
haven't seen that
Um,
one yet. I gotta test
It's
that.
it just fills the whole screen with white lightning. It just goes
What about a favorite spell from the DLC?
Wait,
one's easy for
I
me.
gotta turn.
Oh, you had
too.
your weapon. What's your weapon? What's your weapon? Well, you already looked
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you were
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
cry when I mentioned the hammer, so I figured we knew what it used to be. But
No, it's Mesmer Spear. Actually, I really like Mesmer Spear. It's
I
it's
did,
a ton
but
of fun.
they
No,
chopped
no.
off its balls and sent it home with a poodle cut.
No, because you're just thinking about throwing it. Have you not used the flame art on it?
I have. It's good, but the throwing was the
Good.
thing that drew me into that spear.
No, dude,
Sure.
that Ash of War will bully bosses.
It is.
Straight
It's
up.
good. It's flashy. It's also very high commitment.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It will bully a boss.
My
straight up.
sunflower's high commitment, but they're pancakes while I'm doing it.
That's why I like the ancient sword, because it's not a high commitment. If you
Oh, it's
whiff it,
fast
you don't
as
have
fuck,
to do
yeah.
you don't have to do the second L2. You just quickly turn like, oh my god, block. Okay.
Interesting.
You know, but if you do nail it, then yeah, just jam that second L2 in, and it's
Yeah.
just massive damage.
So for me it'd be Mesmer Spear, but Cowboy, go ahead. You wanted to get into spells? Favorite spell then?
Spells? Mesmer's orb. That shit is
Yeah, I
anime
was-
as fuck.
I
So
don't
good.
really use spells, but from the ones that I've seen, Mesmer's Orb would definitely be the one that I would use as well. Because I mean that's the reason why Mesmer is even probably my favorite boss fight. Is just because the ridiculous amount of explosions you have in that fight. I was like, yes, explosions,
Just
lots of
going off.
explosions. I like explosions. So Mesmer
He was actually much easier to read than you initially think. Because then
Yeah.
he's doing all the snake thing and just like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what the fuck? Like what's happening here? But then once you realize what he's actually doing, it's like, okay, I can actually figure out
Yeah.
what his moves are.
So
My
favorite
favorite
spell, Gene?
spell is the new lightning spear.
Dragon or the Knight's Lightning Spear.
Yeah, Knight's lightning spear. Where it's definitely a regular lightning spear, and it just
6
conjures
more.
up 5 more lightning spears.
I think it's strong.
And then-
too.
and-
it hits hard.
Yeah, they're really strong. They track really well. Yeah, that's just my favorite weapon. Because I just love lightning spear in general. I always use the regular as lightning bolt in every single Souls game ever since whatever the game it first came out, whether it was
yeah.
Demon Souls, whatever.
I remember
And
really
the
like
fact
liking
that they
Spear
have
in
a
Dark Souls
better
2
version of it. It's
pre-nerf.
just fucking
Oh.
so perfect.
that's
Was there pre-nerf?
It's a Sunlight
yeah.
Spear back in Dark Souls 2 before they like
It-
neutered lightning. That thing used to hit.
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
good.
It's really
Yeah.
funny because I would rarely ever do full on spellcasting builds, because the thing was I never liked the idea that in Dark Souls, right, whenever you're casting a spell, he grabs like his little Harry Potter wand and he goes like Expelliarmus, poof, and then it goes like poof, like it just shoots out his spells like that. But lightning spear would go like boom, like I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I would every now and then I run a lightning spear build, and then when I first started playing Dark Souls 2, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make just a build that chucks lightning spears. It didn't used to be overpowered in 1, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be fine. And so I go through the game and I beat the game, and like, I don't know, whenever they did the nerf to the spear, I start receiving comments, cheese, just spamming lightning spears. You want some wine with all that cheese? And I was like, what the hell, dude? It's like I didn't know any of this. This is what the game was. People were mad. People were mad about it. But yeah, lightning spears are badass.
That's exactly why I never use sorceries. I always use incantations because I just don't want to use a wand to cast magic. I want to cast it on my fucking hands, you know?
There you go.
So that's why I'm always using lightning spells and incantations. So that's why also that multi-layer ring of light. That's my other favorite spell. The one that you get from that demon right before Saint Trina.
Oh yeah, that thing is good. The range is
that
impressive.
one is just like huge AOE, just melts.
That's the one that you used in your review, right, Cowboy?
Yeah, Destructo Disc.
Yeah,
Destructor
I
Disc.
saw that one. That's where I saw it because again, I don't usually do that many spells, so I just see spells on other people's playthroughs. That's the way that it goes. So like the lightning spear you're describing, I don't think I've even seen it in the game. Is there an enemy that casts that?
You gotta find it in a catacomb.
Yeah, but no enemies cast it.
No, Death Knights use it.
Oh, Death Knights haven't done much, poor guys. They would just like get destroyed.
You got to be like backing up to try and heal, and then they'll toss it out. If you're you were probably on top of them, so I doubt they went.
Oh yeah, I was just like I was in there with the spear, just like poke, like what you want, poke. I don't even know if
when I was backing out, I was like, what the hell kind of lightning spear is that he was throwing at me? But yeah,
I think people told me that on the nights that I didn't even get to see their ultimate attack. It might have been that. Because I'm like, I was waiting for him to do his ultimate. He didn't even have a chance. And I was like, well,
they have a grab that can full heal themselves.
Oh yeah, that's probably what that actually might be what it was. I think the person said it was a grab, but yeah. So
they have a King Allant like move. Yeah.
Yeah. So favorite zone.
Ooh.
That's a rough one, huh? I'll tell you guys mine. Shadowkeep. I
Oh,
friggin' loved Shadowkeep. I loved exploring Shadowkeep. I found everything. The thing that took me the longest to find was like Church District because I forgot there was that back entrance. So I missed that for a while. But other than that, I loved exploring that place. It was a ton of fun.
Shadowkeep for me too. It is the best FromSoft dungeon. The Church District was amazing. Once you unflood the place, I was like, oh my god, this is just they just made a Zelda temple in the middle of this fucking whole DLC.
And you see the friggin' the ulcerated tree spirit crests while it was like, oh damn, what the hell?
That was fun. The fact that there are like 4 different entrances into Shadowkeep and exits.
Yeah.
The fact that Shadowkeep is like a funnel to like so many different zones and so many different bosses. The Scadutree avatar, the Gaius, the Hinterlands, Rao Ruins, and then the Shadow Atlas, and also like the Church District at the end, and the Temple of Unte at the bottom too. So many different exits and entrance. We've never seen a dungeon like this intricate before. And then the fact that the Omen statues or the bodies are just like being lifted, and like the rafter, it's got it all.
Yeah.
It has so much of like FromSoft like dungeon design from Anne Orlando, jumping from the lattices, the rooftop. The jumping up in the rooftops and navigating the rafters, unveiling, pressing buttons, opening doors, elevators, dropping down into things, hidden walls. The hidden wall for the stone coffin. It has a fucking stone coffin, for Christ's sake. It's got every single FromSoft trope in there. It's crazy.
It was great. Like
I was so mad when I found a stone coffin. I was like, "Oh, come on, man! You're still doing this? Okay."
I don't want to.
Let me climb in.
I don't want to say this right now because I usually suffer from massive recency bias, but I think this might be the one that dethrones my favorite from Software Zone of all time, which is Sen's House of Fun.
Sen's Fortress. Sen's
Fortress. See, Cowboy, you're the only one that doesn't like it.
I love Sen's Fortress. Hell yeah,
Sen's Fortress is so good.
So you gotta realize when I
can't believe you had a bad time in Sen's Fortress.
It's not that I had a bad time. It's that when I think of zones, I think of them with like walkthrough brain, and collecting everything in Sen's Fortress means, okay, now jump into this pit filled with shit full of enemies that are going to attack you to grab a fucking rune 2 that's in the corner, and then try to kill them and climb back up. Like if you're just going through Sen's Fortress, it's not bad. If you're trying to collect everything in Sen's Fortress,
going to the bottom section of Sen's Fortress fucking sucks.
Absolutely nightmare. And the shit down there is kind of garbage, right? As far as I remember, but it was never worth it. Every time I've gone there,
there's the
every time I go to Sen's Fortress, I was like, I gotta go down into this.
The Titanite demons are there. That's the problem. Those got.
I would
Oh,
I
that's
would
right.
probably pick Shadowkeep, but since both of y'all picked it, I'll give it to the ruins instead.
Which ones?
Oh, yeah,
The
ruins,
ruin, the
ruins
entire
of Rao.
ruin zone that we access after Shadowkeep, because we have like the two.
the ruins of Rua.
We have the mini labyrinths. You got the Crucible guy. You got some hippos. You got the giant trying to snipe you. You got Romina out there. You have the different layers, and it definitely like when you're first going through that shit. There's like 4 different ways to get into it.
Yeah,
and only one exit, and you're like, where the fuck do I go in this labyrinth? But like once you know the route, you're like, boom, boom, left through the crack, out the door. Fuck you, I'm free. But that place, I was
really
that place took me for a loop for a bit.
Yeah, it goes inside and out. It feels like a dungeon kind of too, right?
Yeah.
So so I mean that's the fun thing about this world is that so much of this world actually just feels like a dungeon, you know? And like Charles' hidden grave or whatever is a really small area, right? But then I like the area once I start thinking of the whole map as one big like.
No, I hate
dungeon
that
stuff,
place.
You know,
That place sucks.
I feel like
that place got that death bird I didn't like. Fuck that place.
Yeah.
Never going back there again.
Yeah.
I still feel like there should have been like a big catacomb there. Like
there could have been one more thing in there.
Yeah,
though,
like
sure. It was kind of a
Sharo's
waste of
hidden
space.
grave. I expected like a crazy catacomb that had some kind of boss, and I don't know. It feels like a missed opportunity because you have the furnace guy, you have the jail, and then like the bird and a hippo, and I mean I guess the mariner.
Tibia.
We count Tibia.
The
Yeah,
mariner fight. You got the boat fight. That's about it though. Yeah.
Yeah, that furnace
So, yeah,
golem, it took me a
weird
while
zone.
to kill. Because like
Dude,
Weird zone. Probably the
dude
weirdest zone
gobbled
in the
up,
game, right?
like, 2
Charo's
million
hitting
wounds from me.
right.
Because I didn't know to throw the things in the head, so I just kept attempting different things like poking his face
oh yeah,
and all sorts of shit. Yeah.
Oh, the sunflower?
No,
the
the furnace golem.
the armored golem
Oh.
in Shadow, because he's the first one
sure.
you fight, and if you haven't gone to Shadowkeep, you don't know the note about like chuck a bomb in their head. And I mean, logically, like I actually tried that, I think, but I think I was using like frost pots, and I was like, that's not
Because
doing
that would
anything.
because that's what would make the most sense to use frost pots. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I equipped. You know that I killed one of the furnace golems with a smith script weapon.
Just running and chucking it.
I was.
That's fun.
I basically, the way that I edited that was like, you see me start throwing the spear, then there's the SpongeBob thing, 2 hours later, and then you see him with almost no health, and I'm still running around throwing spears. Although I'll tell you what, I wouldn't do it now after the nerf, because that was pre-nerf. If it was after nerf, screw that. I wouldn't have tried
make that 10 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are right that the furnace golems are objectively bad. Just like
I didn't say that.
No, I said that.
Yeah, Cowboy
okay.
said that they're objectively bad. I think that they're pretty bad. I think it is fun to throw pots into their brain though.
So
that is fun.
So wait a minute.
I think
said,
if you killed them after, like, I think if you got the first stagger and then your one crit took them out, they wouldn't be that bad. But it's the fact that you need to stagger them, crit them, and then stagger them again. They're tedious.
It's a bit of a time waster, like especially you have to do it a third time. Like maybe if it was twice, then okay. You know?
No, yeah, I think there's like 4. No, wait, let me think. 1, 2.
I don't remember how many there are, but while
I think
you're thinking,
there's 5. There's 5 that you need to do the stagger kills to, and 2 that I know of that require the pots.
So wait a minute. I remember I complained to you, Cowboy. I was like, no, I don't like this. I don't like that there's that one way of throwing stuff on top of it. And you were just like, shut up, boomer. I liked it. And now you're telling me they're objectively bad? What?
They are objectively. Well, no. You said you didn't like killing them with the pots. Those are the ones I don't mind, because you just walk up, pop, and it's dead. Those are fine. Those I find a cliff. It takes me 10 seconds. Fuck you, guy. Get out of here. They're out. I'm talking about the ones where you gotta a basketball. I'm enjoying the basketball with them. Smack my man's legs for 10 minutes for him to fall down to crit him to repeat process. That's objectively bad. That's not
Cowboy,
fun.
check just so that you guys see how much out of it I was during some of my recordings because of all the crazy stuff that was happening to me in real life, right? And you can see this in one of my playthroughs. So I'm doing the basketball thing for like this was the first time I crafted pots at all in the game. So first of all, I didn't know that the crack pots don't run out, which is why I was so hesitant to use them, because I would see requirements. You need a crack pot and you need all of these ingredients. And I was like, I only have like 3 of these. Like, what do you mean? I mean, at the time, I think by the time I went to kill them, I had like 8. But I remember looking and I was like, I have like 3 of this. This is a resource that is like super rare. There's no way I can do this. And then I threw the pots and then I went to go craft more. And I was like, wait, what? All the pots are still there.
Yeah,
but
any
anyway,
other pot in the game.
Yeah. So but I never crafted any pot at all. Nothing.
I never crafted any pot either. Yeah, this is the first fucking time.
So I even made a tip. I even
shit.
made a tip to tell people, hey, just in case you don't know, like I didn't, these don't run out. But anyway,
bro.
so
This is how little I crafted in the main game. The first time I saw the tutorial pop up for crafting was a couple weeks ago. And the game is like, oh, you're interested in crafting? Okay, well, here you go. I'm like, holy shit. After 2 years, I never went into the crafting menu.
Bleed arrows and bleed bolts. The fire pots for the fog rift for it, you can bring like 6 fire pots and instant clear like half of it. Rot pots are insane. You know, not even the hefties, the regular rot pots, 2 of those will rot Promised Consort.
Damn.
So you dodge him at the start and you're like, fuck you. And then he's rotted for half the fight.
Damn.
That's what Quaylog was doing. She was arming her Mimic with pots.
Yeah.
And then,
I keep rot pots on just so Mimic will toss them out.
So the but basically, so I'm for the first time that I'm trying to throw these pots at the thing, right? And I was like, okay, so I've made, I think, 3 fire pots and 3 volcano pots, because Cowboy, you told me like 3 pots is more than enough to kill it. So I'm like, okay, so I have these 3 volcano ones and I have these 3 fire ones. So I start chucking them and I miss like 2 or 3 of them, and I was like, crap. But anyway, I do a chunk of damage. Like that thing is at, I don't know, 20-30%. And I was like, okay, I need to craft more of these now, but I'm in combat. And now look at how messed up I am in my head. I was like, oh, I know. Let me log out of the game and log back in. So I quit game, log back in, and as I'm logging back in, my brain's like, catching up, and he's like, wait, he's gonna be full health again. And yeah, I log back in, and there he is, like, hey, I'm full health again. Let's go again.
You sounded very tired. Now I am no longer surprised that the Bale quotes completely missed you. You sound tired. You sound tired.
And then in the last 2 episodes, I was actually sick. I've been sick the last couple days. I was like, oh, this is great.
Oh, man.
I could barely talk. Let's go, guys. I'm gonna kill Radon. But yeah, so.
But you did it though. You did it.
Yeah, I did with a great shield cheese, but with no summons.
Oh, yeah.
I don't whatever.
So honestly, the thing is, I feel like unless you're abusing exploits, I feel like any kill is a fair kill.
Oh no, but
yeah, totally.
like exactly, it is. But even if you're bringing in other players, like a kill's a kill. Like people need to just stop that stuff. But anyway. So
that was what Asmongold did, by the way, because he went viral a couple of days ago for complaining about the DLC being too hard, and which was unfair for him because he was just complaining in the moment, right? Streamers will complain in the moment because you get heated about the game, and then he went back and he got a fingerprint shield and he got the deflecting heart tier,
and people then started calling that cheese, yeah,
and then people started calling that cheese. It's like, no, he adapted. He's
exactly.
playing the game now properly.
The thing about Asmongold is that I've noticed is that sometimes in Souls games, this is also a streaming thing. It doesn't affect everybody, but some people when they're streaming, because there's this notion from a lot of people in the audience are like, oh, streaming is just playing the game. It's like, no, streaming is entertaining an audience. These are 2 very different things. When you're playing the game, you're sitting there playing the game. You don't have to be worried about chat. You don't have to be worried about OBS, your face camera, like all of these different things that might be happening around you. And a lot of people don't understand. It's a very different thing to stream a game. And I've noticed that Asmongold, whenever he starts dying, like, I don't know why, but for him, that is one of those things that starts getting to him. And he just he gets burned out. Like I remember it was the same thing in Wolong, because he's like, oh, I don't want to go catch the flags or whatever it was. And then he would get to the boss and he would be massively under-leveled for that level because he wouldn't have the morale levels, and he would get wrecked. And they'd be like, oh, game's bad. I don't like this game. It's bad. It's like, no, I mean, you have to do the thing. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But he quit on that game, and he was about to quit on Shadow of the Erdtree as well because of the fact that he was struggling. And the thing is, he's self-imposing the no summons thing, which you don't have to do. Nobody has to do that.
Yeah. again. Yeah.
So it's
There's another streamer who doesn't play a lot of games, but Sean C. But he was also doing the exact same thing. He wasn't even getting the upgrades. He wasn't getting the fragments, and he was doing no summons.
No Scadutree, no summon. Good luck with that.
No fragments, no summons. But he still beat the game. But he was complaining about it the whole time. And it's like, dude, stop complaining, bro. Like,
Yeah.
You know what to do to make this less complaining, but you're just not doing it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So now let's get into what was the worst thing for you guys about the DLC. Like the thing that you liked the least, the thing that upset you the most. What was the worst thing?
We've
for
already
you?
talked about them.
What?
Furnace golems.
For Cowboy, it's the furnace golems.
Well, the thing with the furnace golems too, their grab attack that has, I think, the worst hitbox I've ever seen in a FromSoft game, because you will be between that thing's legs and the hand will go whoop, and it'll vacuum you in, and then he puts you in his fucking toilet bowl of a head, and you're just dead, unless you have like multiple anti-fire buffs on. That grab attack is just death.
For a second, I was thinking that I always get these confused. I was thinking you were saying
forge
the forge
golems,
and then you start saying, wait, grab attack? I've never seen them grab me.
Yeah, no, I mean the forge golems are annoying, but they're not that bad. The furnace golems
they're not that bad.
They're tedious and they can instant kill you.
So see
they're a fight though.
The thing about the furnace golems is, to me, the one, the ones that you're talking about, the ones that you don't like, the ones you have to break the legs. Those to me were super easy, because like I go on torrent, I pick up my lance, I run right at that leg, go to the other leg.
That's a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's
because you're having fun. You're having fun playing with torrent and jumping over the attacks.
And then you jump over the attacks. It's way easier.
A lot more
fun
doing it with
doing
that than jumping as your little normal guy going whoop whoop.
Yeah, because you get double jumps. It makes it way easier. So yeah, those to me were not too. I think the only one that I had problems with was the Rua one, because I feel like that one has more health because it took way longer to break. And so that one, I was just like, no, I'm gonna figure out how to get up there, and I'm just gonna chuck barrels at him. So I just progressed the area until I could get above him. So you can actually do the barrel thing on 3 of them, Cowboy, if you wanted to. The one in Rua, you can navigate to go on top of the waterfalls, and then he'll come to you and you'll just chuck bombs at him.
Well, I noticed some of them, there's a couple where I've knocked them down and then tried to just bomb it after it falls. But if it doesn't have a lock-on for its core, it doesn't seem like you can toss bombs into it. Because the one I was testing it on the one near, what was it? In Altus, I knocked him down, and I was like staring right into the fire, chucked the bomb right in, 0 damage. So I think it's only the I mean, it would depend. If you can get up top and lock on, and you can get that toggle where it's like face tummy, as long as you can lock onto that core, the stomach of it or whatever, you can throw bombs into it. But some of them don't have that lock on.
Yeah, but like so those to me weren't too problematic. But yeah, the just so that you know, in case you want to do that for your walkthrough, whatever, the one in Rua, you can throw bombs at it. It'll probably be easier for you. Because I had if I
throw bombs, I'm gonna throw bombs.
Oh yeah, like I'll because even that one for some reason, I don't know if they inflated his HP way more than the other ones, but like it felt harder to break him. So I was like, nah, this is taking too long. And on top of it, that area has a couple of performance issues for me. I had like a little bit of frame only in that area though, only in the ruins of Rua. That's the only place where stuff got framey for me, because that was another issue that people talked about that I actually forgot to bring up, which was performance. A lot of people had performance issues. How did it run on PS5? Were you running performance mode, Gene?
I was running performance mode. Do not run it in quality mode on PS5, especially with ray tracing on. I'm someone who enjoys 30 frames per second. I have no problem with it. This is not 30 frames per second. It is a slideshow on ray tracing on PS5. The game, is just like, it is like it is like Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity on the Nintendo Switch. Like it is that bad. It is that bad specifically. So don't play it on quality mode. Play it on performance mode, which was not bad, but definitely dips into like the 45s or whatever like that. So not very stable. But it was obviously much better than ray tracing mode, and it was fine. I can deal with that. It's not an issue for me. I know the Digital Foundry guys have a huge issues from soft games, but I don't. Dude, I played Demon's Souls at like 12 FPS, so I've been fortunate to fire.
Yeah, so long as Digital Foundry's guys aren't going like, From Software should use Unreal Engine 5. It's like, bro,
Yeah, exactly.
that one's
Oh,
still
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's still stuck here. I'm like, bro, I will. God, I wonder
Extra
if they
life.
even play Unreal 5 games, because like the two really big Unreal 5 games that came out, both of them ran like ass. I'm sorry, on release. I like both games, but on release they both ran like ass. They were terrible. One of
Hellblade
them.
2?
What?
Hellblade 2?
No.
Let's try thinking Lords of the Fallen.
Lords of the Fallen and Remnant 2. And it actually,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I actually
do
felt
run
bad
like
for
ass.
the Lords of the Fallen guys, because they were asking, hey, anybody want to stream our game on our official Steam and whatnot? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I start playing the game. I kid you not, I crashed it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me just very quickly restart the game. Guys, they're working on it. Don't worry about it. I just restart the game and never go back to that boss.
This is why I always
It crashed
stay with,
like 4 or
just-
5 times in that session. I was like, oh, these poor guys.
This is why I always just have like whatever the best hardware is, though, because like my PC, like, you know,
Didn't help you for
the same
Remnant.
with
See, look, didn't help you for Remnant 2, which is another
Well,
Unreal 5 game.
Remnant 2 was a different story, but like for Dogma and Lords of the Fallen, I was able to just brute force them to like be 4K 60. So I was like, I mean, it was also what was that fucking Koei Monster Hunter game?
Wild Hearts.
Wild.
Yeah, Wild. I was saying Wild Hearts ran like shit for most people. People
Oh,
were so
yeah.
mad. They're like, "How are you playing this garbage?" I'm like, "Run in here, man. Game's fun. Fuck off." Like,
Yeah,
Ran terrible for me too. Yeah.
the problems with performance that people were having, I saw a video on it, and apparently this is what the video said. I don't know, because I don't even have this hardware, because I use AMD hardware, so I have both Ryzen processor and AMD GPU. But they're saying that this is that Intel processor that usually has problems. So apparently it's not able to tell between cores that are meant to do background tasks, which are slower cores, and actual proper cores. So some of the tasks sometimes just in Elden Ring just get assigned to those crappy cores that are supposed to do background tasks, and that's why everything goes to shit. And as per usual, we all start focusing on, oh, there's something wrong with my GPU. Let me tweak the settings. Doesn't matter. Nothing will fix it because it's a processor issue. Very much like Dragon's Dogma 2, if you guys remember. That also
Exactly
had
like Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah,
processor
Dragon,
thing,
you
yeah.
turn everything down to low. It's not going to do
Doesn't
jack
matter.
shit. So.
Yep. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But Gene, what was the worst thing about the DLC for you?
That's a rough one. I think the only thing besides the golems, and whatever we talked about, I think the only thing I can really say is I wish the deflecting heart tier was just a base game, or just like a regular mechanic that you don't have
Like
to
an Ash,
drink the
like
tier
an Ash
for.
of War or something that you could, well, not an
Or
Ash
just
of
just a
War.
mechanic, just literally the Liza P block. Everyone keeps calling it the Sekiro tier, but it's actually the Liza P block. You
Yeah.
just press L1 in the right time, and you just don't get hit, and you can do a little a guard counter. But yeah.
I haven't tested that hard tier yet, but after I watched Ratatoskr and fighting Gaius with it, I was like, dude, you're like with a medium shield over here, blocking this thing and countering it to death. It's like, what is this? I want to do that. That looks like fun.
Yeah.
So,
It is fun, but it also takes some skill too. You still have to. The timing window is actually fairly generous. So if you did want to make it a regular game mechanic, then you would have to probably tighten the window a little bit more. But yeah, I just feel like that it's so fun. Man, I wish I could just parry the whole game.
And according to him, that thing lasts for like 5 minutes, and I was like, 5 minutes?
It lasts for a good long time.
Is it
that's
3 or
enough.
5? 'Cause I've
Ratatoskr,
people
I heard
say
saying
five. I
five.
3
was
minutes, but
3
that-
like everything else.
Ratatoskr
I heard
was
3
saying
minutes,
5,
but
so I
it's
don't know.
that's still like most of the fight, anyways. Like
Yeah,
I swear,
that's
like,
what I was
Radahn-
thinking.
Yeah.
5
Yeah,
minutes. will
Radahn is
last
like
you
a
the whole
5-minute fight. So
Yeah,
So
Game
you
Rant
could-
says
you can put,
3
like,
minutes. The wiki says 5 minutes.
interesting.
Well, 3 to 5, it's still.
Yeah, but
That's
like
decent,
basically
regardless.
you pair that up with the Opaline hard tier or something for some more damage mitigation and whatnot, and you got yourself like a
1000%.
really powerful thing there. So that's
Bro,
pretty cool.
I've been using the Ashen Spirit boost here. That thing is wild.
Ashen boost. What is that?
There's
For the spirits.
There's a crack tier that boosts the damage of your spirits.
Yeah, I have it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I
went up
killed all the
against
furnace golems.
Well, I went up against the double the knights. What are the knights at the start of Elden Ring? What's his name? Erdtree Knight?
Tree Sentinels.
Tree Sentinel. Yeah, I went the double tree sentinel fight on the way to the shaman village. I went up there, summoned
That
my
doesn't
mimic.
have to be a double fight, by the way.
It doesn't, but
No.
I made it a double fight anyway. So I summoned my mimic, and then I went to the second one, and so me and my mimic were racing each other, and I barely beat my mimic. That's how much damage they're doing with that tier. Like, I was looking at the health bar, and I'm like, holy fuck, is my mimic gonna kill? No, the fuck, you're not. I am faster than
that's
you.
fun. I should do that. That's fun. Okay.
Sounds like really fun.
I fucking
having
killed them. Shit, I
competitions with your mimic.
Yeah.
That is really
Oh, you know
awesome.
what sucks about the DLC? It sucks to have to play the main game again just to play the DLC.
That's what I was gonna say. You robbed it off me.
Yeah.
I was like, getting back to the point of replaying it is actually takes you know. Well, to be fair though, I don't know if you know, Gene, they've actually made it so that you can get to Moog really fast now without doing multiplayer invasions.
Yeah, so I actually just did that. That's how I got my second run. Is that I
Yeah.
actually went through the base game in like 5 hours.
It still took you. Oh, but
and-
you did more stuff than just that.
Yeah, I did more stuff because I still wanted to like collect some shit before I went into the base game. So
Yeah.
but I took like a nice 5 hours to kill Mo, kill Radon. Basically, literally that's it. And then go into Lanedale. I made sure I also just collected some sacred tears and collect the stuff I want from Lanedale and from like the Tree area, and then from there I went into the DLC. But it still takes a long time just to start it. I wish there was a way to you can just fresh like roll into it.
So
level
you're on
200 or something.
You've been playing on PC again, right?
I've been playing on PC, so
So one of the things I did for PC, which helped a lot. So I had my one dude that I got through everything, got him ready to go, got him into New Game Plus, so he has all the equipment and everything. And then you can use the save man. There's a thing called Elden Ring Save Manager. And then what you can do is basically create like 5 characters that are just level 1. And then you can go into the save manager and take that character, make him 200 or whatever, and you can paste him into each character slot and then go on those character slots and then just respec it to the build you want. Which is why that's why like, so on my save I had my dude that I played through, and then I had the one that I was doing the walkthrough prep with, and then another one I was dicking around with. But there's like endless build combinations in Elden Ring. So I took that and I was like, all right, we're gonna make 7 more, and now you're gonna be my pure dex guy, you're gonna be a pure strength guy, you're gonna be a pure faith guy, you're gonna be a pure int guy. And so I have all these, partially for invasions, just so it's, I can easily swap between different builds I want to play with. But it's also nice for subsequent playthroughs, because then you have multiple characters that are, in my case, all ready to jump straight into the DLC with different builds.
I have to look into that. I've been looking into to that, and like also learning how to use cheat engine too, because I never.
So now
actually
that
used
sounds a
before.
lot like cheating. Actual cheating.
It's literally it's in the name. It's cheat
This
engine.
thing called cheat engine. What is it?
Well,
doing?
That
what's
sounds a
funny
lot
is
like
that,
cheating to me.
I'm in the cheat engine Discord for the cheat engine tables for Elden Ring, and then what's funny is that for the first time ever, they're now translating the entire cheat engine into Chinese because of the upswell of Chinese players complaining about how hard the game is.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Because
a lot
apparently
of the
most of
reviews in there are
the Steam
Chinese, yeah.
reviews, most of the Steam reviews are Chinese players because one, they don't have Steam community there, so they have no forums to bitch about how hard the game is unless they actually leave a review. So that's kind of like their only outlet for them to be able to complain about the game, and that's what's causing it. And then so now there's this huge swelling of Chinese players looking for help in the game. So the cheat engine focuses like, shit, we gotta learn Chinese now.
It's actually funny because like you guys want to know the first time I ever used cheat engine, the first and the only time I've ever used cheat engine. You want to know what it was for? It was in Dark Souls 1 so that I could perma Gravelord myself.
Right?
So that I could play through the game as if somebody had permanently Gravelorded me. And let me tell you, there's some locations where there are some mobs that like, the hell with that. No, because I was trying to go through and I was like, oh, I want to kill all of the red mobs. And it's like, nah, bro. You're going to go into the forest, that area before the Moonlight Butterfly, and there's like 3 red of the dudes with the big, the stone dudes with shield. And those dudes have like 10 times the health of the other ones. Like I remember going in there with a good weapon and I was like, okay, bonk. I was like, wait, what? There's just a little millimeter of damage. And I was like, no, never mind. We're not killing these.
You learn the hard way real fast.
but it was fun. It was fun having those things. That's the only thing I ever used Cheat Engine for. But
I mean, there's some good stuff you can do with Cheat Engine. It's just one of those things that a lot of people, if you don't understand it, you're just risking your save. Like the other day, I pulled it up on stream because I wanted to, when we were doing our Ashen Summon tests against Cenat, I didn't have everyone, so I was like, all right, fuck it, real fast. We're just gonna boot up Cheat Engine. We'll add Anna and Yolan. We'll add the bird guy that I don't have yet. And so we grabbed like all the top summons, just instantly put them to 10, and then just did the tests. But if you don't know what you're doing and you just, I'm gonna run Cheat Engine, like there is a good chance you're probably gonna get banned.
Yep.
Like so, the big thing is, you stay online and
also,
or stay offline and learn what you're doing.
You should never ever use that stuff online
on multiplayer.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's why it was annoying that people were accusing me of cheating on PS5. First of all, I don't know if there's a cheat engine for PS5.
You'd have to have a cracked console to be able to do it.
Yeah, you need to homebrew your PS5 or something.
Yeah, I don't do that. I definitely don't even know how to do that.
Why were people accusing you of cheating on PS5?
I have no idea. They're like, how'd you get to level 713? I was like, I had a lot of time and I just grinded through it.
It's just
and also, like, if I'm cheating, how am I online with the game?
But the thing is, are people not aware of, like, I'm pretty sure that you probably use the Moog method, right? The one where people shoot the bird or whatever, and then the bird comes and dies. Yeah, are people not aware of these things? I slaughtered
Albinerics like crazy,
Because like I've never did it, but like even never doing it, I know exactly how you do it.
Wave of Gold and hit those Albinerics for, I think it's like 25 to 30,000 runes, and it takes like 10 seconds.
Yeah, so you're just like boom, 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 boom. I mean, hell, to give you an idea, right? The other day when I was getting my second character ready for the DLC, I was just like, I didn't remember how I was playing with that character, so I'm running around and I fell off a ledge and lost 800,000 runes, and I was like, oh damn, that's almost like 1 million runes I just lost right there. So I was like, oh. People are trying to get into the DLC. Let me go up to Moog's. I go up to Moog's and they just like do a couple of co-op sessions super fast, get a ton of souls, and at the same time you're helping out other players. There's so many ways to get like millions of runes. It's just weird that people aren't aware that that's a thing.
That's exactly what I do every single time I fight a boss. I'm like, oh, I just beat that boss. Let me just help out a couple people too. So that's what I'm doing on PS5. I'm helping out people with Radon with my level 713 character. But yeah, if I was cheating on PS5, how the fuck am I online?
Yeah. And the interesting thing too is when I was doing those Moog runs, there are so many people, those poor people, they don't know about the potion.
Oh, the tier to avoid everything. Yeah.
So it's like I'm getting ready, and then like me and the other summon are just like destroying Moog, and then Moog goes into Nihil and the host dies, and we're like, oh no, you didn't know.
That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part of co-op, man. On keeping a host alive.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do.
I mean, that's the thing about trying to fight Radon. It's like I'm trying to keep the host alive, but it's tough because Radon like moves so fast. He's across the arena. Yeah. I'm just like sprinting. I was like, no, aggro on me, motherfucker. Come on.
I had one of those the other day. I got summoned as a blue at I think it was Bellurat. It was either Bellurat or Shadowkeep, but I got summoned like the top of it, and I see the host like way down at the bottom running from 2 invaders, and I'm just like, sorry, little one. Like, you're not getting out of this one. Where's my blue? Where's my blue? I'm like, sorry, you're dead.
So
it has been fun going back online though, and just like the community's alive again.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, especially DLC
it's nice to see everyone running around.
The Wild West of PvP.
I had this discussion on Twitter with this one person. I'm just like, this person's you're just an idiot, like an actual, because like this dude is saying, this game is only for a very small niche audience, and I go and I just literally grab the Steam charts for Elden Ring, where it's like, I think that the peak at the time was like 790,000 or something like that, and I was like, a very small niche of gamers, and the guy doubles down. He goes and he's like, yeah, exactly. Barely 1 million players. I was like, he's insane. He doesn't he doesn't understand the concept of concurrent viewers. And then he starts bringing up stats. He starts bringing up stats about like, oh, the game sold 20 million copies and it's only less than 1 million players are playing. And I was like, I told you don't understand the concept of concurrent. Please look it up in a goddamn dictionary, you idiot.
Yeah,
And he just keeps tripling down. I was like, oh my God, no.
I think we're just becoming an increasingly illiterate society.
Yeah.
Like, people are just not understanding like very simple concepts about things.
Well,
It's like,
especially
it's
on
literally number
Twitter.
3 on Steam right now, bro. Number 3 on Steam.
If nothing else, 2024 has shown that Steam is the absolute worst place for gaming Discord, because you are going to get heated with.
It wasn't Steam, it was Twitter. The place where I was arguing.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant, Twitter. But
Twitter,
and the point is, there's no point arguing with people on Twitter. You're not going to win.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just the best thing you can do is just dunk on them and leave, like that idiot that was in. I don't know. We had one the other day where I said something to Gene, and the guy's like, "We all know you had your secret press copies to sell the game, and it's definitely easier." And I'm like,
is it because of I said that the reviewers were given a guide? Is that why?
Oh yeah, people have been bringing that up. The reviewer, yeah, bro. You know what the guide says for Mesmer? It says dodge and hit. Like that's.
No, actually, there is no guide for Mesmer. I specifically said that there's a guide that shows you how to get powerful early on in the game. That's what the guide. That's it. That's it. It's like that. That's the guide.
It
and
shows
people
it just tell you where to get the shadow fragments, the two that you got early on. It just tells you to get those.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
that's the guide.
It's funny that I was able to get those organically, but yeah, it does say that. The other thing that was funny was like the pot dudes. I didn't know about those until the time that I started writing the review, because I was like, well, let me take a look at this reviewer's guide. I don't want to be surprised by suddenly, by the way, microtransactions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
That again.
Which I never knew about, by the way, because the EU guys never got it. So stop messaging me about that. People still think I'm a liar, but whatever. But yeah, that was interesting. But so final thing to wrap things up. There was one very special moment in the base Elden Ring. I feel like it was special for everybody, which is when you find your first elevator that goes to Siofra.
Of course.
I feel like everybody's like, there's like a whole world down here. Was there like
unforgettable moment,
a similar moment to you guys that you were just like, holy crap, in Shadow of the Erdtree?
Or two.
Okay.
When you hit the shaman village and that music just drops and you're like, what the fuck?
Yes.
Like that
That
place.
is a very good one. That is.
And then when I first ran
people
up,
don't know because we're in full spoiler territory. You walk into Shaman Village and it's like the most beautiful place in the entire game, like ever. And then suddenly you hear the first notes of the Elden Ring theme, or like the Elden Beast / Maracas theme, which is like, and then it suddenly dawns on you, oh, we found her house.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
And then
That's pretty cool.
The other one for me would be when I first got to the Dragon Communion Temple, and I'm like walking up. And I'm looking, and then I'm like, wait, holy shit, that is a giant fucking dragon.
Wait, you've never noticed that there was a dragon? Because I had seen that dragon from so many different angles.
From far away, yeah. I was trying to get
but
to
I mean, up,
dragon.
like getting, like, when you first start going up, and because it's so big, it looks like it's practically part of the fucking mountain.
Yeah,
and then I'm like,
true.
dude, this thing makes Grail look small. This is huge. Yeah. I'm the size of, like, its toenail.
I think that's Charo or Caro, probably, too, right?
Yeah, it might be.
They're probably, because we never find out who Caro's hidden grave is.
Yeah.
I feel like that has to be his. My moment is the hinterlands, the shaman village, or the shaman village.
I think the shaman village was the same for all three of us, because you hear the theme and you're just like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, it just really hits you. It comes out of nowhere. I think for me is also the first time I saw the finger ruins, because I was like, oh. Because I hate the
I hate the hands.
ruins.
Yeah, me too. The
Like
finger
everybody-
creepers. The finger creepers.
I
That's
hate the
such a
finger
good
creepers and
name for
everyone
that
else-
monster too. The finger creeper. That's right. You are creepers. Freaking. Just like I hate them.
And then you see them on the beach, and you're like, "Oh, these things again." Okay, and then like you didn't realize that the game is teasing you. Like, watch out! Like, we're about to like inflict severe mental damage on anyone who hates these fingers.
If you look real close to the guy in the cathedral, the strip on his like bishop robe or whatever, it's just a bunch of little fingers that are wiggling right in the center of his robe, and you're
Did
like,
you see the altered version of
That's
there's an
only
altered version of that
when you
robe.
fight him.
oh god.
That's only when you fight him, right? Or is it always
No,
like
no,
that?
you can
Before you
wear
fight
that
him?
version.
No, I'm confused. So he only shows
I don't
the
know.
weaving fingers when you fight him. Before that is just a
Is
normal
it only
robe.
then?
Yeah, I think
I just
so.
remember noticing it, and I just remember looking and being like, "Oh, that's nasty." Lots of little.
Yeah,
That's
you
nasty.
can wear that as the altered version of that gown, which is so fucking. And it has different lore on it too. I didn't know that the altered
wait.
versions of the
Different lore on
the clothes
altered
have-
versions?
Yes, I
Time
had
to
no
start
idea.
I wasn't
invading
aware
is
of that.
Finger
Yeah,
Man.
time-
Finger everybody.
Yeah.
The finger weapon. Finger magics.
Yeah, but yeah, the finger ruins. Even going down beneath the cathedral to find the finger ruins beneath that cathedral, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
This
That was
is
a fun discovery because
But
I'm looking
Yeah,
at the
that-
picture and I'm like, where could this be? And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is the same fucking shape as the cathedral. And I start looking
I
around
was like-
and it's just a button on the throne. You're like,
Yep.
oh, there we go. That works.
I was
It's
like, oh, there it is. And you go on the
That
ladder.
was-
I was like, oh, of course.
that
there's
was the
another
one that
finger
I was
ruin.
going to bring up for one of my favorite discovery moments. I actually found that one organically. Because you know, the hinterlands I needed Cowboy's help with, but like that spot I was able to just get there. And when I got there, I was like, wait, what? There's like this whole thing, this whole mountain is hollow. This is crazy. And then you go in there and you fight the Mother of Fingers, and she's got all these friggin' tubes. And it's like she's keeping tabs on everything. She knows everything that's going on. This is insane. She's like the mastermind of this whole thing.
You're at the middle of the internet, right?
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah. That's basically the
crazy.
internet thing. Like you see all the tubes,
Yeah.
and when I was like, that's crazy. So like that.
They also
that
look
was
like
the one for
they also
me.
look like fallopian tubes too. So it's like
Yeah.
birthing canals or whatever. Ooh.
Yeah, that boss
Oh.
creeped me out. I was like, yeesh. It's
Give
freaking
me big ROM vibes.
yeah,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit, yeah.
Vacuous ROM,
Yeah.
you know, cause or something calls them, you know.
All right, we're almost coming up on 3 hours. When I said it was going to be 2, my apologies, but the two of you are just so easy to talk to that I could keep going for a lot longer. But even I have to go pick up my kid from jujitsu training. So
Yeah. I swear there was another moment. I guess the Cerulean Coast was a good moment too.
Yeah,
you know,
Cerulean
that-
Coast
that-
was
that-
Yeah,
that-
awesome.
first walk out there.
You know, that splash of white and blue, like you were talking about the contrast of colors, like that
Yeah.
was really the first time the game like really turns it up for you. But then that was well, it's a kind of a hard area to find too, right? You have to
I
kind of go
didn't.
underneath.
I've
a
I've
little bit,
heard
too.
people say it was a hard area. I didn't find it hard at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cerulean?
if you just miss the obvious path,
I mean, isn't it?
Yeah,
You go down to the river and then you make a left. That's
yeah,
it.
you just make a left. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah,
I think
another-
the thing
not
is a
a-
lot of people probably just make a right to go see what's on the
Yeah.
other side, and then they forget that there was a left there.
to
and
completely
they never
forget.
go
Yeah,
back.
that's exactly what I did.
Because
So that's why I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to
I
turn.
almost forgot, but then I was like, no, wait, there's still one path I haven't done. I got to go do that, and then I just found it.
That's exactly what happened to me. I was like, oh, I forgot to turn left. And I was like, oh, this was so hard to find. I just totally forgot to go down the path.
I wouldn't say is monumental, but Ancient Dragon Man was kind of a fun memory because he invades you.
I
And
was
you-
never invaded by him.
Oh,
Oh, no,
dude,
wait.
he invaded me, and I like
Oh no, he did. He
two-shot
did
him.
invade me. Oh yeah, he did invade me.
Yeah,
But you
Yeah,
completely destroy him, and you're like, the fuck was that? And then you like,
yeah.
and then you get down to the actual boss fight, and you get like hit in the face with the dragon thing, and you're like, oh, okay, this
That
is
hurts.
serious.
You're like,
now.
oh,
I
that
see
was
it.
that was 70% of my life.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I see.
Yeah,
You're
that
not
guy
the same
hurts.
person anymore.
That guy
That was
hits like
fun,
a
yeah.
truck. Yeah. Couple of interesting drops too, because you have to make the drop there where it tells like "Be brave," and you just like
Yeah.
drop.
Mhm.
Whoa! I thought I was gonna
Yeah,
die
yeah,
when I
yeah.
did that.
Again, FromSoft pulling out every single trick in the book.
Yeah.
The drops, Dragon Pit Terminus, and the Stone Coffin Fissures. Those drops there
Yep.
too.
What
It's
did y'all
really
think about the Yolier invasion?
Poor guy.
I feel so because you beat his ass, and then afterwards he's like, I don't know why I thought I could. After all, I'm as weak as a kitten and thick as 2 planks. Just-
But for some reason, he helps you out at the end, though.
I
He's
know.
there. He's
And he's
there
actually-
with Don.
He's actually pretty good in the thing before, because I didn't
big
summon
brawl.
for almost anything. I summoned for Bale because it was Egon's quest and I wanted to see it and it was awesome, and I'm really glad I did. And then I summoned for the fight before Radahn because I was like, man, fuck you, throwing friggin' 4 ghosts at me at once. I'm not gonna fight that. I'm not even good at PvP. It's like it's
Yeah,
not gonna
if you set it up right, you can stack it as a 3v3 where it's you, Ansbach, and Tiolier versus
yeah, that's what I did.
Letta Drydane, and then
And the
Freya.
thing was,
Yeah, more will be missing.
and the thing
Yeah,
was,
well,
Because
you can
he-
sad forever.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I did was I was trying to do it solo for like, I don't know, a good 30 minutes or so. I was trying to push through solo. So I had like all of these different strategies prepared. And so what I ended up with so that I could be super fast was, you remember how you told me about, I don't know if it was you that told me the shield crash with Frost. Was it Frost? I think you told me with Frost, but I was like, nah, shield crash with bleed on fingerprint shield.
Oh, dude,
So
you
I
could
would
you could just do madness
two-hand-
on it.
What?
Shield crash with the madness that's built in. You'll fuck up NPCs.
Yeah. But that's the thing. The madness stays. So it has
see.
madness and bleed.
Yeah, well, it pulls your madness down though.
Yeah, a
But
little
more
bit, but it's fine.
madness.
So, but
More
basically,
madness.
that's the way that I was going through it to try and beat them. So when I summoned the other two to help me, it was such a bully session, because they were distracted. And I was like, choo choo. It's just like freaking taking them.
Dude, so we got the Horned Warrior sword just before that fight. That sword's practically made for that encounter. I
really?
went in, I didn't find the summon, so it was just me and Mimic versus like the gang, but there's like 3 of them. And the Horned Warrior sword, you're just like whoosh, 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 boom, and then I'm like, start it up again, whoosh, whoosh. Just massive damage, knocking all of them down, and I'm like, welcome to Ash of War, baby. This is how it works.
No, but it
I was
was-
still using the Sword and Night. I actually use the Sword and Night and Flame, trusty old Sword and Night and Flame for that one, because the R2 fire attack is
The big
such
one.
good range. Yeah.
But it was the way that the shield crash just works, because you would literally push an NPC up into a wall,
Oh yeah.
and then just friggin' lean in, and he's like, madness, and then bleed.
Take it in. If you use shield crash in PvP, if somebody doesn't have like decent resist, you can madness them in a single full shield crash with that, or you used to be able to at least.
I remember using shield crash in PvP when I was playing through. I think it was my 3rd playthrough on PlayStation 5. It was so disgusting. Like people would invade.
People don't know how to deal with it. Yeah.
Because they thought, oh, I'm gonna go break his guard, and I was like, no, you don't understand. This shield is not for guarding.
Yeah.
And then when they run
I should
away,
give that a shot.
and that's the best part. When they would run away, I would have like Moog's spear. It's like, oh, I see you're running away. It would sure be a shame if I would knee heal you. It was so disgusting to do. And I don't even know how to do PvP properly, but damn, people were not expecting that.
No, I remember running around with Madness Shield and Madness Spear, and it was like one of the most toxic things in PvP. That
Yeah,
and then
I heard Vikes was crazy. Yeah,
there was this janky bull. I put on like Bull Goat and then Lightning Ram, and like you would use your Poise Flask, and you could just Lightning Ram into people for like 2 minutes while they try to get away. You're like, you're not gonna escape. I'm gonna get you. You just keep rolling across the map.
I mean, when those friggin' scorpions that we get in Shadow of the Erdtree, they were super easy. I never had any problems with them. Then I get to Rua and they start spinning, and I was like, whoa, wait. Stop that spinning. I don't like that.
yeah, I got serious.
The spinning stuff is way too much. Oh, man.
Reminds me of the skeletons from Demon Souls, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You fuck up and you're just dead.
Anyway, that is going to be it for this edition of the Cast. Thank you all very much for watching. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for your time, for joining me here today. We'll see you guys in the next one. I'll have links to Cowboy stuff in the description and Gene stuff in the description as well. You'll have to send me like a link later, Gene, so that I put your stuff on there. But yeah, that's going to be it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.